A
Right.
hyphen, right?
Yeah, no, and just so that just so you know, like I'm not adversarial to it. I consider myself part of what I call the New Age diaspora. I definitely put myself in the New Age community, though that term is often considered a dirty word. I
Yeah.
think that it is what it is. I mean, we know what we're talking about, though we might have problems with all the people that get lumped into that category.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing that I can point to it, but I couldn't show you where the boundaries are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like
No,
we
it
all know
makes
what we're
sense. It
talking
makes
about, but
sense.
we not be able to put definitional words on it. Like we can't
Right,
say
right,
it's a. We'd be here all day if we were to say list all the things that come under the heading of New Age spirituality. But if
right.
I talk about New Age spirituality, we kind of all know what the world that I'm talking about or the world that I'm describing.
Can I ask you a
You
question? When you
know,
Right.
say New Age spirituality, is that a way that you've lived your whole life? Is it a way that you see how to live for everybody, or is that the way you see life for only some of us?
my attitude about it is that like many people, I didn't choose to be interested or fascinated in the things that I'm interested or fascinated in. I just always was. You're always attracted to certain places in the bookstore if you're even attracted to the used bookstore in the first place. And I was always from an early age, even like seventh, eighth grade, from the types of music that I was listening to the lyrics that would turn me on or get me excited about things, or the concepts and ideas or type of movies I'd want to see. Like even like some people go see horror movies and that's it. They go see the horror movie and it's a type of movie that you could see. But me, I was always fascinated, and even at a young age, was looking at things like even the old Disney movies like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, or even The Wizard of Oz, and saying, oh, knowing that there was something there, and then going to the New Age bookstore, the used bookstore, and hunting through the old stacks of, you start off when you're a kid, you don't know, anything from anything, so you pick up Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, or you pick up some tawdry biography of Aleister Crowley, or some like nasty little paperback on, your psychic potential revealed, lucid dreaming in 50 days, or whatever the case may be, but your journey's begun. And then you study the history of these things, where they came from. And I was born in 1975, so I kind of really came of age during the 80s. And so by the time I got into what we would call New Age spirituality, I was already aware of the fact that it had a history. And at first, you hear about the history coming out of the 1960s flower power San Francisco LSD scene. But then you realize that those guys and gals were discovering a lot of information that had already been out there itself. So, and that's where even the juxtaposition, or the two rivers of conspiracy theory and New Age spirituality come in, because you'll start hearing people talk about
Right.
their spiritual beliefs, which are very mystical and very attuned to Eastern traditions and what have you. And then all of a sudden you realize you're talking about things like reincarnation, et cetera, et cetera. And then they'll say things like they'll start bad mouthing Freemasonry. And then you
Yeah.
realize that if you look at the history of Freemasonry, that a lot of the ways that a lot of this information about Eastern spirituality first coming to the shores of the United States and England, and thoughts about reincarnation and stuff like this, and a lot of these traditions came through and were preserved by secret organizations, secret brotherhoods and sisterhoods like the Freemasons or the Rosicrucians, or
But
the Order of the
yeah,
Eastern Star, what have you,
yeah,
or
and
I,
they used to
Blavatsky or what have
burn
you.
that's
us.
why
You
the
know,
whole
Yeah,
thing. But when you mention this, sir, it's
yeah.
is these are microcosms, are they not? Like these are just microcosms. These are just modalities. This new
Yeah, I
age
mean,
thing.
yeah, I mean, look, I mean, so I mean, these are the sort of things about which one a person can
It's
have
like
a
a religion. It's
philosophy,
like a
oh
religion.
and these,
shit,
Yeah.
and
guys,
these are
there's a
these are
commercial.
things where it's like, so I think I pick up what you're putting down when you talk about the microcosms, but
CW, it's bottom of the hour, and I got to these guys are paying for the commercial. I gotta roll this. It's a really good commercial.
Now, Willie Hoppy, how mild can a cigarette be?
Well, I've been smoking Camels for 20 years. I know they're mild and they really taste great.
Yes, Camels are so mild that in a test of hundreds of people who smoked only Camels for 30 days, Throat specialists making weekly examinations reported not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels. But prove for yourself how mild a cigarette can be. Test Camels for 30 days in your T-zone. Let your taste and throat tell you about Camel's flavor and mildness.
Camel toes is what you got to worry about.
There. Well, I had to do it, man. They're paying me for this shit.
I understand.
Camel cigarettes.
You're under these strict regulations.
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Piper.
I want to ask these gentlemen. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Commercial's over. There's only
I wanted to ask this gentleman in regards to the microcosm and macro. Okay, so you see you experience many micros, right? Many modalities per se.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that when I think about what I call the New Age diaspora, that there are a lot of separable and definable subgenres or subheadings. But there's so many people in the life of each individual practitioner. I very seldom meet someone who's strictly, necessarily influenced by, the Buddhism or Hinduism. Oftentimes, it's a mixed match of different things, things that they've picked up over time, that they're into, gemstones and the love in the earth, and they're into this, and they're also into tarot cards. And so when I talk about New Age spirituality, I understand that I'm being that I'm doing something which people inside the community themselves could protest and say, that's muddying the waters, No,
I think you're doing good work, because you know what really pisses me off are all these fucking love and lighters, or whatever you want to fucking call them. These psychics or whatever, channelers, these life coaches or whatever, they're just spewing bullshit for their ego and their fucking pockets.
I'm offended, and I'm a very spiritualist channeler, and I'm really offended by that, Yeah. I'm really offended.
Send your money. I will praise you. You will be saved.
That's a different guy.
That's evangelism.
It doesn't fucking matter if it's fucking.
Well, I mean, oftentimes,
Catholic,
the difference between a televangelist and a lot of New Age practitioners is thin at best, which is hysterical, because so many people in our community would be the first to jump up and point their finger at the televangelist asking for money. But think about how many. It's rare that you see anybody doing things in the New Age community that's not at some sort of what I would call an alternative to working a real job. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, and if you can do it, that's fine. But everything seems to be a pay-for-play service in New Age spirituality, which I think is not a good, healthy way to do things.
No, and you know what? And there's when you get fakes, okay, when you get fakes that draw people, okay, you know what? You're creating you're victimizing people. All right, and you're creating a lot of fucking good drama for yourself, karma for yourself there, buddy. All right? So, go to bed and live with that. All right? So, what you're doing is good, because it's a bunch of fucking bullshit. What I see, a lot of these love and lighters, or these New Agers, you call them. New Agers is such an old term, man. It's like fucking...
what's old is new again. I mean, I think we've gone through the phase of where... it's gotten so old that it's back in fashion. I think it's worthwhile to use. I like it, because that's, to me, the way I understood it was where you went to in the bookshop to find the books that you were interested in. And I ended up in a section called New Age, or sometimes metaphysics. You know what I mean? But generally, that's how I understood it.
Well, yes, sir. When you speak, you said you were born in 1975. I was born in '66. And I didn't have internet, and I went to the library a lot, and I did a lot of studying. A lot of my aisles that I went up and down the bookstores and the library were basically science and metaphysics and the paranormal. And guess where I landed up when it got on the edgy stuff? Yeah, the New Age stuff. So that I studied a lot of that. So this is intriguing to me, sir. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you. No, absolutely. I thank you for your inquisitive questions because they help to draw out for the audience where it is that I'm coming from and what it is we're talking about. It's all food for thought. Like I say, like in this world of YouTube, like when I came onto YouTube, I noticed that there's a ton of people who will tell you that they know. Basically, they present themselves to the audience as saying, "I know this, I know this, I know this," and they're
Yeah.
claiming all sorts of authority. And I come to YouTube and I come to the internet and I come to people and I come to the community and I say, hey man, I'm just like you. I have more questions than I have answers. I could tell
Yep.
you what I'm into and I could tell you why I'm into it. I could tell you what I believe I think is
Yep.
true and I could tell you why I think I believe those things are true. But I'm not going to be so
Exactly.
presumptuous as to tell you that I know how, the astral
Exactly.
plane and the
See,
metaphysical
sir,
underpinning of the universe,
and the
actually works,
dimensional all
or
the rest. And
if
this is what you
reincarnation
see.
is just a
No,
handy way of teaching people about cause and effect of their actions, or whether or
that's
not
right.
it's an actual spiritual science that permeates the universe and lays out dictates of,
What were those
how we get
things
from one
called when you take
lifetime
your
to
glasses
another,
and go like this, and then
you
you turn
know?
When
it
he
like this,
So,
mentioned,
and then it
sir,
come
when he
back around
mentioned
like
this,
this? We
no
called it
one likes to be
a
told anything. No one likes.
something.
right.
No
We had a
one I
name
know
for
likes
it.
to be told. What I do, I like to
720
mention.
I
degrees.
forget.
Mention
I
what you
forget.
want. You take it as you want it. Okay, see,
It
because I
wasn't a
don't tell
loop.
nobody nothing. See, what I do mention is my truth. My truth,
That
Right.
not
was
mine.
Frank.
Slip.
Okay,
Slippers.
I'm not putting myself
Some.
on nobody. Okay, you have yours. I'm not going to put my truth, my belief on you. Okay, you believe what you
Right.
want to believe. All I'm going to do is mention what I believe. That's all, man. Take it or leave it. Drop it. Whatever.
Okay,
Do whatever you want.
Dennis.
Right. I can dig it. I can dig it.
All right.
CW, I have a
What's up?
question for you. When you say reincarnation, you've said this a few times throughout the show. I wanted to ask you, can your past life haunt you in your life that you're living now? Or do you feel like your past life is exempt in the way you live this life? Or do you think
Right.
that there's suffering in this life maybe because you were a bad person in a past life? Or how do you see reincarnation?
Okay,
So
could
yeah,
this
like
be a
so
round
talking
table?
talking
Because I
about the
like to add
concepts of
too.
reincarnation and karma, I don't know if I've had past lives. I know that in my journeys, I've often seen a common theme in various spiritual traditions. This notion of reincarnation, or this notion that this world, this lifetime is a test, and how you live this lifetime will determine the next lifetime, whether it's a lifetime of eternal suffering or joy, if you subscribe to the Christian or Judeo-Christian mindset, or if you believe in the like a Hindu or Buddhist concept of reincarnation that says that if you, do nefarious deeds or bad actions in this world, in this lifetime, you will suffer the consequences in your next until you learn these lessons. I don't know. So when I think about these things, what I try to do is I try to maintain a mindset where the value of the information that I'm reading will be maintained whether or not this stuff is true, metaphysically true, like there is reincarnation, there's a law of karma that dictates how things quote unquote work, or if this concept or these ideas or these speeches about reincarnation and karma going back thousands of years are just a complex metaphorical allegorical way to describe the value of doing good things versus the suffering that can occur if you do bad things. So I
Right,
say to
right.
myself, okay, so I read all these things about reincarnation and karma from a Hindu perspective, from a Buddhist perspective,
Yeah.
from believers in Shiva to believers in Krishna to
Taoism,
Jainism.
the whole
And I
bit.
say to
Yeah, yeah.
myself, okay, so how could you understand this information as being practical and pragmatic so that whether or not it's true or not true, it would still have a value to it? And so what I come up with is this concept of, like, it's something as simple as the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or just
You
thinking
Exactly.
said it
about
right.
how
My
you
God, I
behave
Favorite
and
think you were
what
the
you do,
first
and
person
trying
I've
to
Yeah,
ever
choose
but
to do things.
heard say
Because
that
as we know,
right.
look, I mean, the fact of the matter is the things that we do from day to day will determine what our choices that are left before us the day
That's right.
after.
That's
That's
If
right.
I
You know
choose
right.
what?
not to
You know
come to
what?
work
It's
on Monday
It's
karma.
because I
Don't
think
a
it's
lot
much
of
more
not
interesting
create
to just
karma.
hang out and
You
drink
create
beer all day,
dharma.
I can do that. I can make
Okay,
that choice.
it's my turn.
But come
for a
Tuesday
question.
morning, I'm going to have to suffer the consequences of that action.
See, I don't think anybody's really knows where you're coming from here. They're asking you questions as if you're a psychic or something.
A lot of people don't.
Uh,
A lot of
yeah,
people
C.W is not a psychic. He's not like that. He's into this stuff. But he doesn't profess to be a psychic or anything like that.
You know, if I'll tumble for you. If people have got, first of all, where's this discussion? I can't get to this. All I see is the last comment I see is from Casper Parks.
Oh no.
I'm not even.
Okay, so go to the next episode in Spreaker.
I'm having a nice conversation with an intelligent person here.
I don't even know how to get to the next episode.
Dennis is awesome. Okay.
Right now.
All you got to do is if you were in the other one, just hit my name, Wolfman Mike, and then scroll down. You'll see the next episode. I think it's just called. I didn't name it. It's just called MCP Radio, so I have to rename it, and then you'll find it back.
Okay, let's try that. Okay. Okay, here we go.
You guys play with boards. You guys flick your keys. Do whatever
Here
you
you
do.
go.
Man.
I think I got it. I think.
No, he wants to see the chat. That's cool, man. He wants to see the chat. The last one.
I think I see it.
See your chat. Respond to the chat. Tell me what they're saying, Mike, because I want to respond to some of these fucking dickheads. I'm sure that they're fucking posting right the fuck now.
Yeah. You psychic son of a gun, you Dennis, you read all their minds. Now they can't hide from you no more.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Go fuck themselves.
See, like now here's a perfect example. This is like cause and effect. So and this is how complex it is. So one could say, look at Dennis's reaction, and one could say, oh, Dennis shouldn't do that because if Dennis does that, he's going to have to deal with like slack from the chat or BS from the chat.
Or
but at the
Igor
same time,
bonking.
At the same time, if he chooses not to do that and to try and play ball, then the truth might not come out regarding, making an important stand, on principle for, why it's important to be truthful and honest and speak your mind, no matter how many tables get turned over at the party. So when we think about these things and try and figure out the right or wrong thing to do or what karma is going to be, you see how complex it can get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
Anyways, Dennis, they're mostly just talking about the Rose Bowl in there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on at the same time, so don't worry about it, man.
All right, good, whatever. So I wanted to ask this gentleman again. I still didn't get your first name.
You can call me C.W. You can call me Benjamin. It doesn't really matter to me.
It's a beautiful name, Benjamin.
Right.
Oh wait, they think it's Casper. No, this is your name. You're not Casper, are you?
No, I'm not Casper Parks.
Casper Parks is just in the chat room there. He's on tomorrow night, actually. Casper Parks on tomorrow night.
Okay.
All right, Benjamin. Okay,
the UFO
Benjamin,
guy.
I'd like to ask you a question, Benjamin.
Sure.
So this Dharma, right? In fact, it's like yin yang, right? Positive, negative, right? It's like the balance of energy per se.
What I know about Dharma is kind of like the rules of the road. Like in some ways, it's analogous to what would be known as the Tao or the Way. Like our karma is the effects of our individual actions upon the playing field in the game of life, and Dharma is kind of like the games. Like so, if you or I, if someone is born to be a beggar or somebody's born to be a brain surgeon, either of those guys can hurt the Dharma or live against the Dharma by trying to live the life of the other person. You have to, kind of accept things for how they are, what it is.
Where you live in karma. That's where karma always comes back.
Right.
For what I find, see, if I live pure and true, okay, with nature and my fellow humans and all the rest of that stuff, universe for me, okay, this is just me, the way I see things, myself, my truth, is universe has everything to provide. There's everything to offer. And what the problem with me is that I was so distracted in 3D distractions, in emotion, with other people and losing myself in those distractions, or that I wasn't seeing what universe was offering me until I really got a hold of, like, grounded myself, really looked at what was going on around me. Okay, and then where that I pick up these signs and these things, and yeah, universe has everything right there. Boom, right there, and it's and it's just so interesting where people fight to try to find it. If you try to find happiness or you try to find answers, you're never gonna find it, man. Never.
Have you ever, guys, listened to the newest, physics, like, what do they call them? The physicists, like, damn, the ones who just, like,
Stephen
on the,
Hawking,
yeah.
physicism,
What do they
whatever.
call
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I just saw a show on it. It was
Like
like,
quantum physics is
that's
definitely
quantum,
something
like,
yeah.
theoretical
string
physicist.
theory.
I got it. Theoretical physicist.
Sure. Well, I mean, look, I mean, a lot of this stuff. When we talk about theoretical physics, we have to figure out if we're actually touching or talking about the real stuff, or if we're just talking about an interpretation of theoretical physics that's been brought to us. Like, so for example,
that's why they call it theory.
Yeah, there was a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? That was made by adherents or students of the channeled entity Ramtha, who's channeled by Jay-Z Knight. And the whole principle of this movie was this notion of like the non-locality of things, and a lot of this stuff ties into people like Deepak Chopra and books like The Secret, where they look at aspects of quantum physics or theoretical physics and use that as a jumping off point to justify all sorts of sometimes wishy-washy new age beliefs and practices regarding visualization, or that there's like teleportation is factual or actual, or the only difference between the only reason you don't have $1 million in your bank account is because you don't believe that you have $1 million in your bank account. And so when we talk about the theoretical physics, we have to know and understand that, are we going to the source material? So my attitude about it is, if you want to talk about theoretical physics, you better be listening to someone who can actually demonstrate to you that they come from the world of hard sciences, that they come from an MIT or a university, and they're not just someone selling a book, The Way of the Wizard or whatever it is. So that you know what you're getting, because there's a lot of people that can take these words like quantum physics and relativity, or take a thought idea, like, you ever hear about Schrodinger's cat?
Oh yeah.
The notion that exactly. So that you can take that concept, and if you're smoking weed around the campfire, you could take Schrodinger's cat thought experiment to all sorts of mystical, magical places that the actual theoretical physicist Schrodinger would be like, that's not what I was talking about at all. You know what I mean? It's just a metaphor or analogy to explain a concept or an idea. But like I think what Dennis was saying before is, I think what I notice in life is that so much of everything that we do comes down to utilizing and manipulating our own power of perception. The fact that the difference between the state of affairs of the world when we're quote unquote happy or at peace, and the state of affairs of the world when we're quote unquote distressed and feeling put upon and sad or disjointed, it's not the state of the world. The state of the world tends to be the same. It's our perception of things as they are. You know what I mean? Like, so you can find yourself, say you're a long distance runner. I've used this idea all the time. You're a long distance runner, and a horrible accident occurs, and you lose your legs. All your life you've been training to be a gold medalist runner. All your life you've been at the gym. You've been at the
I can help you with that one. Hang on.
Working,
let's chop the legs off. Chop the legs off. Come on, let's get the legs off. All right. Good. All right, okay. There you go, okay?
So you lose the legs.
All right, okay. There.
Right? Whether by chainsaw or car accident, the legs are gone. So that individual is now in a position where they can. The reality is the reality. The legs are gone. So they can spend their time running around from new age healer to new age healer, thinking about the way in which they're going to get their legs back, or they can make peace with the fact that they don't have legs and say to themselves something along the lines of, well, I guess this is God or the universe telling me to slow down, or I guess I can't define myself, or I have to find a new identity beyond just being a long distance runner. Or that person could sit there in a chair in a room with, watching, replay after replay of past performances or past Olympic runners, drinking themselves into an early grave. The difference between all of those reactions is not the state of affairs. The state of affairs in all of those situations are the same. Long distance runner at point A, at point B, a man or woman with no legs. The thing that changes is not the world or the situation. The thing that changes, it makes one person be a winner who can be, living a life of value and living a life of value for other people.
You change the paradigm.
Teaching them valuable life is the perception of the situation.
You change the paradigm.
Perception.
Change the level of water. Change and that makes you a winner. Exactly.
Yeah, and the dirty little secret is this: is that you can honestly tell the person who's sitting there in the room drinking themselves to death. You can say to them, and you have to. What do you want to do? Because you're not going to get the legs back. So you're going to have to decide whether you're going to be an optimist about the situation or you're going to continue to be a negative Nelly. And as hard as it is to face is that there are certain people whose natural propensity is towards negativity, and those people tend to go down like a stone. And there's people whose natural propensity is optimism, and those people always seem to find a way to fly.
Yeah, I guess what I took from this theoretical physicist is that you could change the paradigm like that and say that, put yourself in a situation, then say that only a person with no legs will win out of this situation I'm putting myself into. So unless you have no legs and you used to be a runner, then you're not going to win in my arena. So basically, so it's a win-win situation that you put yourself in by changing the arena, it's changing the paradigm. I don't know what word I'm looking for.
No. It's absolutely. It's. I think what you're going for is this. There's a concept called reframing, where you take a given situation, a person who's involved in that situation, and you say to them, you find ways to look at the given set of circumstances that exist that are not undeniable, and you find a way to look at them differently. Or, like as I say, reframe the situation, recast the situation, recast yourself in a different role. And, then you might find yourself being able to break out of that prison and moving and striving for the next step or the next level, or keep on going, putting down that bottle. Putting your hands on the side of that wheelchair and wheeling yourself out into the sunlight, if only to say, look, I may be in denial about this, but I'm going to choose to believe that life is still worth living, and that there can be a lesson here. And it's just the way that it goes. So I think that goes back to what Dennis was describing with, discovering that the universe has everything that's on offer. It's like whatever the universe is, whether you're living the life of poverty in Bangladesh or whether you're living the life of a billionaire out in Beverly Hills, you still are going to be left in that position of saying to yourself on a day-to-day basis, there are certain things that are in your power and control to define and live a life of happiness or live a life of sadness. Not to say for a moment to act as though it's easy peasy lemon squeezy for a beggar on the streets of Bangladesh to be a happy-go-lucky person, but simply to say that there are ways that even that individual, we have to accept and believe on an existential level that even that person, some level of happiness and life satisfaction is available to them. Because if it's not, that person's just going to lie down the streets and die.
Yep.
And you never know what's going to happen next. That person could be discovered to be a great teacher. That person could find themselves in a year or two from then having a coterie of white followers. You know what I mean? Thinking that he's some enlightened guru. You never know. The greatest things can happen. The worst things can happen.
People fuck themselves.
Okay.
They absolutely do. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. The saying like never.
I'm really
using this absolutist language. I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to get that. I mean, well, absolutely not if you say never. So you have to, even if you fail at it, at least you shoot your arrows aim your arrow for the stars, you may just land on the moon. You know, it's you hope for the best, and even if it doesn't amount to anything, even if all your efforts are in vain, and you still end up an abject failure, you just ended up in the same place you started off with. But at least you tried. At least you can look yourself in the mirror and say, "I tried my best. I tried to live a life of purpose. I tried to find some way to express, you know, goodliness and godliness in this lifetime, as difficult as it might be."
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. The strangest stuff, though, that theoretical physicist that just really rung true. I can't remember his name, but he was on the Joe Rogan show. You can check it out. If you look at the Joe Rogan show, it's one of his recent ones, and it says theoretical physicist blows Joe Rogan away. It's really worth a listen, man.
I know the guy that I forget his name escapes me, but I know exactly. It might have been he had this guy named Lawrence Krauss on to talk about kind of things. And when you get it,
I think he's from Toronto. Actually, this guy's from Toronto, I believe. He's professor from Toronto.
Now here's the real thing that's crazy, is when you get to the stuff that the real hardcore theoretical physicists are doing over at MIT or over at Stanford, at Stanford or any of the major colleges, or even over at CERN overseas, you will see that at the level of work that they're doing at theoretical physics, it's almost indistinguishable from the wackiest, craziest, zaniest New Age belief out there that you're going to find down in the vortex of Sedona being taught to you by DJ Rainbird, you know what I mean? Who's going to put a crystal on your forehead and move you in three directions, and you're going to see eternity. Check this out.
Yeah, why is NASA investigating Chaco Canyon? Why is NASA investigating Chaco Canyon? Why were they in there? Did you hear about that one?
I mean, look, check this out. So there's a guy named what's his name? Oh Christ, we're bad with names. But anyway, this came out a couple of years ago, where there were people that were an astrophysicist who was talking about what they were seeing through the greatest telescopes regarding the edge of the information that's contained at the edge of the universe. And they basically, and I'm paraphrasing it here, I'm dumbing it down because that's as best as I can understand it. I know how smart I am. I'm not smart enough to be a theoretical physicist, right? I'm probably smart enough to be the janitor in the Department of Theoretical Physics at a major university. Know who you are, know your limitations. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, man.
When they look to the edge of the universe now, what they're saying is that what they're basically seeing, and this is theoretical, and we always have to remember that theoretical is another word for might be true or might not be true.
Yeah.
Is they're seeing computer code, essentially, and they're basically coming up with an illustration that certain explanations of the holographic universe, or this nature really not being... this universe really not being real.
We're back to the holographic.
It's true. And then even when you get into things like there's been a lot of talk and discussion about what's known as the simulated universe theory. That's very popular with guys like Elon Musk.
Well, yeah,
and it's been talked about on Joe Rogan Show a lot, where it's just basically a lot of the models that people run indicate that there's every reason in the world to believe that we might just be in a quote-unquote matrix-like universe, a simulated universe.
Who created the holograph?
That's the essential question. That's the great mystery. It's like, check this out. So we know about a guy called Zecharia Sitchin, who had a theory that the way that humans evolved was not, over millions and millions of years, but in fact had to do with the interaction with a space race called the Anunnaki coming down to Earth and manipulating the genetic code of monkeys or great apes in order to create a slave race to help them get gold, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now a lot of people will talk about that and think that, okay, so there you go. We have an answer for how humans got here. And I go, no, whether or not we got here accidentally or whether or not we got here through the Anunnaki, you'd still be essentially left with the same question. Okay, so if the Anunnaki made us, fair enough, who made the Anunnaki? Exactly. And even if you say, who made the Anunnaki were the Archons. Okay, who made the Archons?
I got a great
that
question.
What we call God.
Got a great
Okay, who
question
made
for you
God?
from a Jewish producer in the chat room. He's asking if you know about, or if you heard about, or believe in the Mandela effect.
I know all about the Mandela effect, and I believe in the Mandela effect insofar as I think that it's an observable phenomena that we could talk about, know, and understand. Do I think that there's an actual thing that the Mandela effect is quote unquote real? I'd have to be honest and say no. What I think is much more likely is that people are just misremembering things, or just they're tripping up over accidents of the brain. And I can deconstruct, and I have deconstructed on my channel, the kind of the essential evidence
Yeah.
of the quote unquote Mandela effect. The
I would
first
have
one
to
is this:
actually
that
agree
people
with you,
saying
sir. Yes.
that in when they learned that Nelson Mandela died in 2000, and was it 15 or 16, they all said to themselves, wait, I heard that Nelson Mandela had died years and years ago. And I pointed out the fact that, well, look, Nelson Mandela was alive, all those every year from 1940 whatever, when he was born, up until he died in 2000 whatever. He was alive on planet Earth, and you can know what he is. There's a couple of things that happened. Number one, a lot of people that were involved in the civil rights struggle in South Africa, along with Nelson Mandela, did not live, and in fact did die. There was a guy by the name of, I believe his name was Stephen
Yeah,
Biko.
Stephen Biko.
And Peter Gabriel wrote a
Yeah,
song about him.
yeah.
Biko,
Yeah. I know,
because,
but I love that song.
So
Man.
Stephen Biko actually died, and they made a movie about Stephen Biko. So I think when a lot of people think that they remember Nelson Mandela dying, they're
It's
really
Stephen
remembering
Biko.
Stephen Biko.
I agree.
I also want to point out the fact that a lot of the people that remember Nelson Mandela dying, and talk about the Mandela effect, may have just been, kind of ignorant and kind of living their life, in a bong or a beer bottle, because Nelson Mandela made a cameo appearance in Malcolm X that came out in 1993 with Spike Lee. Nelson Mandela was the president, was the first black president of South Africa for many, many years. So when people talk about him dying, I say to them, I think you were probably just out of touch, or tuned out. And then people start talking about the Mandela effect, and let's face it, a lot of people want to believe in things like the Mandela effect, because that means they live in some sort of science fiction world where there's someone's hacking the matrix, and timelines, and we're going back and forth, and all this, that, and the other thing. The other classic example of the Mandela effect is Empire Strikes Back. Is people remember Darth Vader turning to Luke and saying, Luke, I am your father. And then when we watch it nowadays, he says, no, I am your father. And we say, oh, whoa, wait, hold on. I remembered it differently. Okay, so you remembered it differently. The human memory is fallible.
I know why that is. And you know what? I can explain that one.
When it comes to things like that famous lines from famous movies, the minute a famous line is done in a famous movie, Saturday Night Live is doing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention, dude. I remember Saturday Night Live, and that's where they said, "Luke, I am your father." So it confused everyone by the comedy thing. So they all remembered that as being in the movie, but it wasn't. It was on Saturday Night Live.
And also, Chris Farley did it.
That's
when
right.
He was in the movie Tommy Boy, when he goes up to the fan and he's doing the Darth Vader voice.
Yeah, and he says, "Luke, I am your father." That's right. That's where you people are remembering it from, not from the actual movie. So there you go. I agree with you again. Yeah, I know. Right. I'm right with you on this shit, man.
Absolutely, and so much of this stuff can be done like this, and so I try to explain to people, I'm not trying to crap on anybody's parade,
but you're right,
or break anybody's heart. I'm just saying that if we think about this thing logically, it's better, because then we're going to come up with the true instances, because there are things, we've all had things like deja vu, experiences where we say to ourselves, for the life of me, I gotta be totally honest, this is a weird thing. Or you have these weird experiences, you'll be talking, you and me might be hanging out, on the street corner, having a conversation about such and such, some dude that we haven't seen for 25 years. Out of nowhere, we start talking about this guy. And then all of a sudden, who pulls up? Crazy old Jerry Brown, whoever it is, the dude we were just talking about. And it's whoa. And so there are great mysteries in life, and there are things to be explored. But then there's a lot of things that become popular on the internet and then fade away. The other thing about the Mandela effect that I always love is that a lot of these things and concepts, like the Greys, the Zeta Reticuli, or the Archons, or whatever, the shape-shifting lizard people, for a thing that's the biggest thing going in the universe, it tends to be popular on the internet for about a year and a half, and then it goes away and no one ever talks about it again. You know what I mean? Like, remember, there was like 2 years ago, it was Mandela effect, Mandela effect, Mandela effect, Mandela effect. There were people that had whole channels that were just dedicated to collecting Mandela effects.
So,
and where are those channels now?
I think we talked
Those
enough
guys
about
have-
Mandela
Those guys
effect.
are now talking about QAnon or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of lemons, sheeples.
Anyways, the Eric Weinstein.
Shit. That's what it is. Because people are like hive minds. They can't think for themselves. People
Yeah, hive mind. Okay.
In general, they can't think for themselves.
So the guy on Joe Rogan was Eric Weinstein. Or Stein.
Okay,
Eric
okay, yeah.
Weinstein. And it's Joe Rogan, number 1203. He's a mathematician and economist. He's also managing director at Thiel Capital. You can check him on his blogs and people. I'm not sure what they're, but yeah, he commercial. Oh, Eric Weinstein, PhD, something like that. You can find him on YouTube.
Rogan stumped.
Rogan
Rogan was so dumbfounded. It looked
Me
like
too.
He blitzed on Chatter
Dude,
for a month
I was
before he did
stumped
the show.
from this guy. It was
He
wild.
was dumbfounded.
And when he gets to the end of it, he's tearing everything to pieces.
Like the kind of thing, like, no offense, like Joe Rogan is a comedian who on his spare time likes to get his head kicked in.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's like...
That's amazing. I love this guy.
Yeah, that's true. He's cool though, but I like it that he actually tried to understand this.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a huge fan, and I totally admire and
he even
respect
said, "I love the guy." He says,
where it's like people will say, like, "Whoa," like, you know, like you see those clips. Like, Joe Rogan is one of these guys. He'll make a 3-hour performance, and then it ends up becoming 3,000 hours of YouTube content because everyone and their mother is going in there and clipping out the little things. It's like Joe Rogan gets his mind blown by this guy. Joe Rogan is asked a question about apes that he can't explain, and it's like, duh, he's not a physicist. I mean, if you tell the average person something about theoretical physics, they're going to be blown away. You know what I mean? So that's like not like, I mean, it is what it is. Having said that, I would love that paycheck. You know what I mean? I would love to be Joe Rogan. Are you kidding me? Wolfman, how would that be? You sit around basically, you wake up in the morning, you see your kids off to school, you hit the gym, becoming a kick-ass piece of work that you can respect in the mirror. Then you smoke weed for a couple of hours.
Take mushrooms.
Then you go and talk to amazing people for another couple of hours and then get a paycheck for doing that. I mean, that's... Talk about, dude, that guy cracked the nut. That guy figured it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, well, if I try to figure this theoretical physics, he said some at one point, he says, well, maybe if I pop a mushroom, it'll kick in and I'll figure this out.
Yeah. Oh, you figure it all out. You pop them. That's it. That's just like the ultimate cheat to the test of life. You know what I mean? Things are confounding or bizarre. Just like taking like a strong hit of blotter or a couple of caps and stems. And you'll figure it all out. You and your best friend around the friggin' sitting in the basement will have all the answers to the universe in about 4.5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You ever do this? You ever do this as a kid? You think to yourself, you and your friends are hanging out, you're partying and whatever, and then you think to yourself, like, whoa, man, you know, when we get into these states, it's like we're figuring stuff out. You ever think that? And then you like audio tape it, or videotape it, like think like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna like take all this magical ingredients, these lucky charms, we're gonna consume, right? And then we're gonna audio tape or like, you know, the results.
Okay,
and then
you're getting me going.
Then we're gonna have a book, right? We'll have it all figured out. Then you play back the tape, and the tape is all like you and your friends being like, yeah, and like, you know, so it really is like, it's really all about love. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
we just get to
most of them turn out like that. Dude, I've got podcasts where I sound like that. And I'm so wasted and I laugh at myself. And it's great stuff. But once in a while, something really weird does happen. And it's in there. And there's evidence in there of something really strange, man. I got... yeah.
And then it's like, what's the logical explanation that something strange really happened, or you just perceive that something strange really happened because, you know, you're on like a laundry list full of,
let me give you an example, okay? Let me give you an example, okay? My brother and I, we did mushrooms down in my grandmother's basement. All of a sudden, I start walking across. Hang on. What were you saying, Dennis?
Discernment. Judging, discernment of what is real and what is... like not so good, right?
Okay.
And you go with it, and that's where you create your belief. That's your truth, right? So yeah,
Moog
that's
Boy. Moog Boy's here. Wow. Awesome. Shout out to Moog Boy. Right on. He's back. Anyway, what I was thinking more was, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, okay. When I was doing this electricity thing, I was on mushrooms when I was a kid. Walked across this carpet. It was a natural fur carpet, and it created a lot of static. So, being on mushrooms, I all of a sudden decided I could just sit down and meditate and suck static out of the air, and I was doing this and then making big electrical zaps and shit. And so I did it. I thought, you know what? We got to record this. So let's zap something. Like we're tape recording this. Didn't matter. I zapped the radio. We were tape recording. Melted the fucking thing. It melted all the wires back to the fuse box. The next day it was all melted. The freezer was sitting on it. It was all the wires were melted. Everybody saw I did it with the zapping like the Dark Lord from Star Wars, dude. So. Yeah, and there was evidence the next day. I've never been able to do it again.
That didn't happen because you're telling me it did.
The electrician, my grandmother couldn't figure it out. The electrician came. He said, "I don't understand how this could have ever happened. It's as if it got hit by lightning here inside the house."
Right. So step number 2 is I say that on a wing and a prayer, we put all our faith in the man upstairs. You, me, and about a quarter ounce of magic mushrooms. We go down to Fort Knox. We just walk up to that security system. We do what we got to do. You do the zapping thing.
And then we find out there's no gold there. Because they made it all into fucking Ormus.
And if they bust us, we're just step number 1 of our master plan, maybe we might need to kidnap Ron Paul.
Yeah, okay, well, you know what? It ain't going to happen because I'll tell you, there's no gold there. They made it all into white powdered Ormus or whatever you call that. And they're all living forever and laughing at us, and there's no fucking gold in there.
But maybe if we take the magic mushrooms and do the zapping thing, we can bring the gold back. We can hack the timeline.
That's true. That is true.
You never know. Hey,
we can win this one.
Listen.
We can win this.
Possible, right?
I think Dennis would probably help us on this. He could just keep believing in that we're going to get gold from when we zap everything.
Hey, look. I mean, gold is gold. I mean, one of these days, if we don't destroy the environment and bake this planet dead as a cue ball, theoretically, there's this new science called nanotechnology, right? And some of the applications of nanotechnology mean that there might be one day within our lifetimes an unlimited supply of gold because we'll have the technology necessary to just make gold literally out of thin air. You would take 10 pounds of plastic and refuse and garbage and turn that into 10 pounds of pure gold because the nanotechnology will be able to work on the molecule on the matter molecule by molecule, reconfiguring it into actual gold.
Oh, dude, these theoretical physicists are right on this one too. Yeah, they didn't quite say that in the words, but yeah, you will be able to do this very soon. He said on a godlike level. They've almost figured it out right to the how. And he says it all goes down into stuff like in the Bible too. It mentions stuff about how this works. It goes way back into ancient texts and everything, how this works. Or maybe I'm mixing two things up at the.
Listen, you could be mixing two things up and getting the right answer.
I think I am. There's another guy I've been studying who figured out the ley lines and how it's based on the center of the Earth's magnetic core working like a speaker, like a not a solenoid. What's the other word for it? Damn. Like a speaker.
Electromagnetic.
Yeah, I forget what you call it. Yeah. It's how its speaker works. It's an electromagnetic device, transducer, I think. Transducer, I believe. Anyways, but using it, that's what creates. And you know what seismic fields are when you how they create geometric patterns with different frequencies. I don't know if you ever seen like a speaker and then they lay sand on it and it makes a geometric patterns. Well, that's
definitely, without a doubt.
that is how the electromagnetic, like the core of the Earth, is working like a speaker to create the ley lines on the Earth. Same way, on a huge scale. So, and then if he's hearing these low bass frequencies that we can't hear, finding them and pinpointing them, and they actually line right up with the ancient ley lines that all the monoliths and megaliths and everything are.
They even say that it found where Jesus was crucified. They found his blood and his DNA. Instead of having 46 chromosomes, he only had 20.
Hey, that's a whole different story. That's not even connected. That's absolutely not connected.
It is. It's in the same. It points out all the things throughout history.
That's not.
This is what happens. We're talking about, like, I think this could bring it full circle back to where we started. We're talking to Dennis about, the use of the concept of New Age spirituality as being these kind of separate modalities. Like, everything is kind of intermixed, but you'll have people that will be like, they'll be like right up to there'll be people that start to hear the conversation about ley lines, and they'll check out. They'll be like, this is some New Age nonsense. And then there'll people that will follow the train of thought or believe in the logic up to a certain point, and then when the conversation turns into time travel or Jesus or where he was crucified or his genetic makeup, then they jump off. So it's like there are people that are along for part of it. There are people that are on for all sorts of concepts. But my whole thing is that we really need to think about the level of proof that we're willing to accept. So my attitude when I hear all these things is that it's interesting thought and information, and I want to absorb it, and I want to think about it, and I want to take it on board, but I might reserve that final commitment to accepting it as true because I just don't know. I mean, the stuff about the ley lines, I mean, a lot of it comes down to hearing information from a third source and then just kind of taking their word for it. That exactly. This is what the science means, anyway, or this is how it lines up, or whatever.
He sure made it sound. He sure made it sound believable.
They're going to have debates about whether or not Jesus Christ was an actual person that lived, or whether he's just kind of a myth or a metaphor.
No, actually, she mixed up that story. Actually, ends up by looking for the Holy Grail, and the Holy Grail turns out to be a double vortex where all these ley lines come, where the most of them come together. The most. If you look in the spot on the Earth where he says it's in southern Spain, and like there's a whole bunch of these that cross at this point. There's more than anywhere else on the Earth, and it's almost like it's in a crater. This like a valley, a circular valley, and he says a double vortex occurs here, and it's probably the most enlightening spot in the Earth that you could meditate or something. That's basically what he says at the end of this thing. I forget the guy's name.
There you go.
But it wasn't about
some
Jesus.
People that think that the Holy Grail is a metaphor for an African woman's vagina. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I like this one because a double vortex.
Just
what do you
as
call
likely
that?
to be
The
a double
torsion
vortex
field.
Anywhere.
Double torsion field.
There you go. Why
bring
not?
You straight into the fourth dimension. I believe that might work, man.
Ley lines, quantum physics.
See, when you're working with magnetics and sound and you do it backwards, it can create electricity. Just with your voice, you can create electricity. Believe it or not.
Right.
Not many people know that, but if you do
listen, I've heard it tell that if you play "Stairway to Heaven" by Zeppelin backwards, you can hear a message from Satan. You know what I mean?
No, but it is right now by me speaking into this microphone. The vibration from my voice is creating an electrical current.
Oh, and the great thing is, just Mike, check this out. Even if it's just a metaphor, you still are making electrical current because you are communicating through the power of the vibration of your vocal cords. You are articulating thoughts that are in your head and communicating them out to the outside world. And then through these electrical devices, through the power of the internet, that message is broadcast out, comes to me, comes through my headphones and into my head, where I then translate those outside thoughts and words into my memory banks in my brain, where they become part and parcel of my life, and I think about them, and to understand them I'm
Yeah.
forced to interact with them and to take them on board to a degree and imagine them as real or not real to just make sure I understand where you're coming from or what you're saying. So that's what I mean. Like it doesn't even have to be a debate, in the totality of circumstances. It can be, you can just think about whether or not the magic is real. Like, okay, a person casts a magical spell. The purpose of casting a magical spell is to make change happen in the world in accordance with one's will. Even if it's
Yeah.
not the case that magical energies are affected on the metaphysical level to make things happen, the act of doing something, the act of moving yourself or committing to a course of action in and of itself has an effect, which can make the effect, the desired set of circumstances come into being. So even if it's just imaginary, even if it's just a metaphysical game that the magician is playing in their head, his or her head, the effect can still occur. You know. And what
Yeah.
do I know? I don't know. I'm just a jackass on the internet, just like you, talking.
Hey,
Right?
wow, but you can,
Dogs bark, cats
man,
meow,
sir,
and
you
guys like
can
you and me
really
have these
talk.
high
I gotta
level
tell you,
conversations about all that stuff.
you can talk. That's great, man. Great stuff. Very inspirational. I'm really glad to have you on. Yeah, man. Just trying to see what time it is here. We missed the top of the hour, didn't we? Damn, we're good. Wow, we even missed the top of the hour. Ha ha! Okay, well, what do you want to do? You want to keep on going, or do you need a break, sir?
No, I'm fine. I'll stay with you until you tell me to go.
Okay, but I usually give my guests, everyone on the show at every, honey, please.
Got
At
so
least
many
turn that down.
questions.
Okay,
Whenever
hi,
you're
Jewish
ready,
producers here.
so many questions.
Jewish producer? JP, are you there?
Yeah. I'm here. Hey, thanks a lot. I don't want to interrupt the flow of the conversation, but when you get down to it, you're taking questions. I've got so many things, a lot of good points that you hit on. So whenever you have time, let me
Okay, you're cutting in and out, though. Weird.
know. Oh, is
I,
this any better? Does
yes,
it sound
actually.
okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Wow.
No, I was just saying that it's a lot of really good information. Uh, Whenever you get the opportunity to slow it down a bit and take some questions, I've got all kinds of thoughts on some of these issues. So, just so if you need the questions, I'm here.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
JP, go for it, man.
well, what I want to hear you say is about Disney World, and like you mentioned in the chat room, that we were just talking about ley lines. So
Yeah, I just spent a couple weeks over in Anaheim, right near Disneyland. Disneyland's built on the 33rd latitude, and it's
Yeah.
actually built at the intersection of three ley lines.
Do you know who's got some really interesting information about this? Do you know about an individual called Walter Bosley?
No, it sounds familiar. I know. Wasn't Walter Bosley the? Oh no, Tom Bosley was on Happy Days.
No, no,
No,
no.
I don't know.
That's what everyone does. No, there's a guy called Walter Bosley. He's got a YouTube channel. He's actually an author. He's appeared a couple of times on the Dark Journalist YouTube channel. He's an interesting guy. But the thing is, I think he wrote a whole book about the 33rd parallel phenomena, where all these things that happen at this particular latitude, including Disneyland being there, and as we know that a lot of the stuff that went into Disneyland and the whole Disney line of products, of intellectual properties, was absolutely informed by a man, Walt Disney, who was absolutely, we know for a fact he was a Freemason and, was interested in a lot of different stuff. So when you say that, I mean, I'm not an expert in it, but I just know that when it was mentioned, it just immediately triggered me to reference the work of Walter Bosley, a very fascinating guy. He's got
That
actual
book, by the way.
legitimate ties to military intelligence. He's served.
oh, dude, Walter, yeah, I've been checking that
I
out
do
too.
know
Walter
him.
Bosley, awesome shit, man.
No, very,
called
very good guy. Very good guy.
33.
Very informed. Very, very
Yep.
down to earth.
Not a fake.
Cuts out, not a fake. Cuts out a lot of the woo woo. And if you're interested in the whole 33 degree the 33rd latitude than that ley line. I know for a fact that Walter Bosley's done a lot of work there, and I think he actually has a book specifically about that. So he'd be definitely someone to check out, or someone that probably has information and research that you'd be interested in.
Nice. Latitude 33, Key to the Kingdom. It's the name of
Okay.
the book. I've actually heard of it, so I did know of Walter Bosley. Now that you mention it, very good.
Okay.
Very good call there. Cool. I've got all kinds of questions, but I'll wait around and let other people talk.
Sure. As far as I'm concerned,
back.
I'm of service. If
I'm
people
here.
have questions or things they want to explore, I'm more than happy to do questions.
Yeah, I like questions.
One thing I'd like to ask about is your interest in astrology. Just basically using the sky clock. And are you familiar with, the churches and everybody who traces the sky clock so carefully? Major corporations, all the major money makers, almost like a hidden occulted language at this point. Jesus, marijuana mama, we love you.
Thank you so much.
It hurts my ears, though, man.
No, unfortunately, Mike, you're at the worst position because if she's your old lady, there's nothing you're going to do to stop her.
Well, no, I can mute
Get
it.
yourself kicked out or sit on the couch.
I can mute it, but I usually don't hit it fast enough. It just hurts my ears.
Super curious to know
as far as the astrology thing is concerned, we need to know this, is that, look, all the pieces fit. The solar radiation, the waves from sunspots and solar activity to cycles, lunar cycles. We know, looking at the biological functions of life on planet Earth, and also just things like the moon's effect on oceans and waves. We know that what happens in the skies above affects what's happening on here, Earth below. So whether or not you go into the whole woo-woo aspect of it, of the sign of Leo and Capricorn, whatever the case may be, or if you just know and understand that affects these massive planetary objects, and the gravitational forces and electromagnetic forces at work upon them and with them, that they can affect things, life on planet Earth, I think is a foregone conclusion. So, when astrology is one of those things that I haven't particularly studied in depth because it's not something that called to me. It's something that I've looked at and I've seen on the periphery of my investigations into spirituality and metaphysics, but it's not saying that I specifically devoted any grand amount of time to studying. But as you say, knowing the people that have put a great amount of interest in studying them and understanding, who have been fascinated from the ancient cultures of the Mayans or the Aztecs or the Egyptians on through today, the types of minds that are drawn to things like astrophysics and the like. It's definitely, I think, a sign of import that has got value to be thought of and to contemplate, though it's not been something that I've gained any sort of specific level of expertise in.
Wow. Okay, we lost JP. Sorry, dude. But that was an excellent answer to his question. We'll get him back.
Yeah, we got so many things going on here. Got 2 phones, 1 laptop,
sure.
2 computers, 2 TVs.
Oh, yeah, well, everything turning off on me and running battery.
Sorry, Jewish producer.
And we broke another thing. No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
Hey.
We broke my ear set.
It happens.
We broke my headset.
Damn it. Okay, that's it. Another broke.
Another window.
Fuck
Oh
it.
my God, it's cold in here.
Oh, this is, okay. We got a letter, too, from the President of the United States here to read.
Oh, stop.
No,
Don't even
actually,
go
you know what I'm
there.
doing with it? Fuck it. I don't want to read it. He's an idiot. He's a fucking idiot.
There you go.
Actually, I hope your president changes things. I heard he's going to make a deal, and this is no shit. I heard that he's going to make a deal with the Illuminati to give us anti-gravity shit. So, but he has to make a deal. What's he going to do? How many people is he going to sell?
Well, all I know is that according to the likes of David Wilcock and Benjamin Fulford or whatever, this is the alliance president, and QAnon has guaranteed that he's going to be the president that brings forth disclosure, and he's going to wrap up the cabal, and everything's going to be fantastic once he arrests half of his political opponents and puts them into military gulags, apparently. So my attitude about this president is the same attitude I've had about every president, including the ones I've voted for in the past, of various different skin tones and ethnicities or whatever. Is that it's just president of the United States? It's just a figurehead leader. He's a politician, and if you're expecting miracles to come out of Washington D.C., or if you're expecting life, universe changing miracles to come out of Moscow, don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
live a life of purpose. Presidents come, presidents go, and it's usually the same amount of bullshit's present in every administration. From here to George
We will not
Washington.
talk about Russians like this. We like, you know, my name is Boris. I am with Natasha now, and we are in Russia.
JP, do you hear me?
This is my Russian station, okay. Who cares about stupid U.S. president? Now we are in Russia. How do you do?
Duh.
Natasha, how are you today? Natasha is taking off her clothes.
Yes, darling.
Thank you.
Duh. Now I'm interested. That's called glasnost.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, listen, Natasha's nothing to. I'd much rather see her in the All Together than Bullwinkle. You know what I'm saying?
We do not need Bullwinkle here and his balls and everything and big, huge moose dick or nothing, you know. We just like
No,
nude Natasha.
You're just
That's
gonna
it.
make
you
us
know.
feel bad. Let's just hang out with Natasha.
That's
for
right.
Like $1 million.
You know that guy, you know, he probably made you eat the fucking the moose sausage.
Right. But that was another timeline. That was a remote viewed that situation with Bullwinkle, and it all turns out terrible. So let's just stay here with Natasha.
Okay, then that's very good. Is other people here too from Russia? There was supposed to be Willie from Alaska. He's my Alaskan guy from Russian group.
Oh, there you go. This story checks out.
Willie, are you there from Russia? You have spy unit from KGB. I give you one. Damn it! Did this thing die out on me again? No, it's there.
Are you talking about the technology or the
Here,
joke?
Wolfman. Here he is. This is Willie from Alaska. What is report from KGB? Please, Willie, tell us.
How many times
Who's
does the guy
cooking
have to
up
say that at the hotel, the bathroom of the Holiday Inn, staring down? Come on. Pop this last Viagra 2 nights before the Vegas vacation isn't quite over. Come on, Willie. Say something.
Damn it.
Leave the man alone. The man's cooking.
Oh, she died.
Oh, here we
Whoa,
go.
that was
Oh,
cool.
wicked.
Max Headroom. It's straight from Moscow.
Oh,
It's Max
they went in
Headroom.
fourth dimension. You know what this is? You hear it? That's called woodpecker effect from Russia. We took over United States with woodpecker effect from Dennis. We used this crazy man
Take too
voice.
much of the Viagra. You're gonna be doing the woodpecker effect with Natasha in the Holiday Inn of the Las Vegas show.
Woodpecker effect. There you go. Everyone wondered how that worked, you know.
Now
What
you know.
the fuck happened?
You got exactly. That's what she said after it was
Oh, yes.
Ooh,
You know, you look up woodpecker, is it not effect? Or, you know, we use Tesla's invention, and we give that straight to the president's head in your country.
All I know is that apparently there's some chick, Debbie Daly, who's from Moscow.
Oh,
Maybe
yes,
she'll
she
be,
is
a
Russia.
better effect
She
than
is
the,
from Russia.
Willie.
She is from Russia. I will try to get her back somehow. I can try. But all of our agents have been compromised.
Yeah, Hey, listen, it's tough in 2018.
Everybody get every over. Oh, man. Okay, we're going to try to find the Russian people back later.
Have you thought about
I can't
Russia?
keep the voice up forever, man. I was working that for a while. Oh, yeah.
A
So,
lot of people talking. I think there's like 80 remarks on.
yeah. Oh, we're at the bottom of the hour. You know what we need? We need to give this guy a washroom break, man. He's just on the radio, on the radio, on the radio.
This is nothing, you know, Mike. If you've tuned into my YouTube channel, I routinely do 4-hour monologues.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I shit you not. I mean, 4-hour monologues.
Well, what do you do? Wear Depends?
No, I have a bladder that's like a camel. I'm able to do the distance, and I'm no longer drinking as much as I used to. I quit drugs and alcohol, and that has had improvement. But then I've got a lot of time on my hands, so I end up talking. I mean, sure, occasionally I'll take a bathroom break, but for the most part, I'll do a 2.5-hour stint straight, and I'll just talk.
Wow.
If you need a bathroom break, I mean, I could pause. I mean, I'm not going to keep on talking.
You're amazing. No, I was going to find something, but I don't know if I can do it.
Russia on a map?
I think I might be able to do it. Pico. Peter Gabriel. Here we go. Yeah. I did it. Oh, yeah. I want to play Peter Gabriel Biko. What the fuck? Just one song. Give us a break, and then we'll be right back. I'm going to try to get everyone else back on. We're close to the top of the hour. Who cares? Let's do it. You want to hear it?
Sure, why not? It's a good track.
Yeah, since we were talking about it before, I kind of want to hear this. Crank this up a bit, and let's do some of that. Skip this fucking ad. Oh, it'll just play after the ad, so. All right, this is Peter Gabriel on the Monster Cast. We'll be right back with C.W Chanter, Wolfman, the Marijuana Mama, and friends. Hopefully some Russian people will come back.
This song was written for a very brave man. A man who preached non-violence in a state which has racism enshrined in its constitution. A man who was imprisoned, tortured, and killed in a jail in South Africa. This is for Stephen Biko.
September 77, Port Elizabeth, weather fine. It was business as usual in police room 619. Oh, because the man is dead. The man is dead.
Oh, they're back in. Uh-oh.
When I try to sleep at night, I can only dream in red.
I gave birth to an alien.
Everybody's back. And we are back. Thank you, Peter Gabriel, for letting me just tear that right off YouTube and play it. I don't give a shit. Because we paid our royalties. I bought that album. I have it.
That's what you're gonna say at the trial of the RIAA, whatever.
Okay,
it was.
yeah. Peter Gabriel's gonna come and get me. Whatever. Not worried about one song on here, man.
No, it's a wonderful thing about like life on the bottom. You know, they tell you like they're gonna sue you for everything they have. You're like, let them. You know.
Yeah, like what are they gonna do to me, really?
Exactly. What are you gonna do?
All I'm doing, like my show, I'm not making money off it, so they can't really do nothing.
Hey, listen, there it is.
Basically, what I'm doing is promoting him for free, and I'm not making any money off it.
Yeah, listen, tell it to Peter Gabriel, man. I got no problem with just playing.
Peter Gabriel listens to me. He loves me.
Fair use. Look, actually, the great thing about it is that if we just take a minute to talk about the politics of Stephen Biko or whatever, or even the politics of a rich white millionaire like Peter Gabriel singing a song, making millions and millions of dollars off this poor brother who died and, you know, getting the crap kicked out of him in South Africa, we could call it we could call it a political analysis and cultural analysis, and we could, under the Fair Use Act, we're covered. It's fair use. Transformative work. We played a small excerpt for the purposes of evaluation and analysis and newsworthy discussion.
Exactly. We're the small axe here, folks.
Boom.
Yeah. You want to make money off Stephen Biko? We're going to chop you fucking right down, too. I love it. Try us. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Good. Well said, sir. I love that. That should be a clip right there. That's right. I saw him in concert. He had some wicked lasers, man.
Oh, sure, man. Of course.
Some of the weirdest shit, man.
Listen, that's great. You ever see Peter Gabriel when he was with Genesis? He was like full on out there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, dude.
The costumes and all the bizarro stuff they would cover. Great stuff. Absolutely respect the artist.
Yeah. Hey, JP, are you still here? I got you guys back. I'm not sure if you can hear me. JP. Maybe not. I don't know if they realize they're back on.
Is he on here?
Oh, yeah, they're on. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, are you on? Oh, no, it doesn't matter.
Dennis is there. You're back.
No, that was good. Like, JP,
I don't know if
JP, you're on JP,
Dennis,
right?
JP, Willie, anybody.
Doesn't matter.
No, you don't matter. But
I don't matter. I don't give a fuck if I matter or not.
We wanted to hear Willie, man.
I know. I wanted to hear Willie's mother. Willie's mother had a conversation with her son, Willie's brother, and then you started it up. But I wanted to hear what Willie was going to say. What his mother said. Oh,
He got
Willie now, man.
Rudely cut off by his Willie. Somebody cut off his Willie.
That'll set you back. That'll interrupt your flow of thoughts.
Yeah, that's what happened. He was trying to talk, and somebody cut off his Willie. Yeah.
Wolfman.
There he is. Did you get the report from the KGB? Please.
I did get the report. They said nothing to report, so I apologize for that.
You were supposed to find out about Black upside down pyramid buried in that fucking mountain there.
Yeah, that fucking harp shit, man. What the fuck is going on with that harp shit up there, Willie? What the fuck are you fucking Alaskans doing up there, man? For fuck's sake.
They tried doing woodpecker. Woodpecker. Okay, Willie.
So, Wolfman.
What's new?
I was talking to Dennis earlier, and it reminded me to congratulate you on the other day when you made your show a non-racist show. I mean,
wow, thank you.
How it ties in that shit? I was telling fucking Dennis, goddamn mom who never fucking makes a joke or nothing. Brother the other day, and they're talking. I'm riding in the goddamn car with him, and she's like, "Oh, hey, honey, how's it going? Love you. Oh, can you hang on for a second? The door on the back deck." He goes, "Oh." She goes, "Is my Irish friend?" Irish friend? Knocking on the door out the back deck? Who the fuck is? She goes, "Oh, he is." He goes, "What?" She goes, "His name's Patio Furniture." God damn.
Be careful with that joke. It's an antique.
Yeah, man, that was a good one.
What mom do with the furniture? Wait, what mom do with the furniture, man?
I fucking banged him and put him back out on the back porch. I don't know.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Well, his name was Pat, right? So how do you know it was a guy? Because Pat can be a girl or a man.
Man. His name was Patio Furniture.
Well, Patio sounds more like a girl name to me. Why are you knocking out girls, Willie?
Patio, man. Patio, man. You fucking burn that fucking shit.
Yeah, his uncle's name the same. Yeah.
Snow all over the fucking place. Burn that fucking shit.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
And the lanterns. And the lanterns that go with it. The patio lanterns and the furniture. All of it.
Yeah, and those little fucking stupid tiki fucking candles. Stupid fucks.
Tiki torches.
Yeah,
tiki candles are the smaller ones, right?
Oh yeah. Willie, do you still practice Alaskan voodoo?
I'm sorry, Wolfman. I'm a little distracted at the moment here. Just keep talking. I just want to listen to you guys.
Okay, yeah, you can do that while you're getting a blowjob. It's okay. Who's the lucky guy?
Oh.
Sorry.
Hey, listen, it's dirty work with the KGB. You know what I mean? That's what we call the
Willie's stuffing his penguin. Willie's stuffing his penguin. Let him fuck.
Oh yeah, penguins. Yeah, they have penguins. He eats penguin rotisserie and penguin pizza apparently too.
Gotta stuff it first, right? No.
Come on. What's wrong with that? You know what? In Canada, they passed a law. It's legal now to fuck penguins.
I never said fucking. I never said that. I said Willie is stuffing his penguin. I never said he's fucking it.
Oh, I misunderstood you. That's probably not. It's probably not legal in Alaska, but I know us Canadians can do it and without getting arrested.
Oh, yeah.
No taxidermy without a license.
Never said that Willie was fucking his penguin. I just said he's stuffing it. Look.
Okay. You know, they don't really have penguins in Alaska, dude.
I know. That's all. No, they don't, man. That's a whole fucking joke.
Yeah, I know. That's the funniest part. CW, we keep bugging him about his penguins in Alaska. We know that there's no penguins there.
Oh, there's no penguins in fucking the Arctic.
It's all family fun.
Yeah. It's penguin pizza, right?
Don't talk about pizza. You're gonna find ourselves on a list. They're gonna imply that we're all Satanists and we're child traffickers.
Oh, the first time Willie called in, I think it was awesome. But he told us about like a boat trip and he saw some weird lights. And then the next time he phoned in, he told us about like running over this guy's campfire with his truck and scaring everybody at the party.
Oh, yeah. Willie likes to fucking choke people out, man. Willie likes to choke. If you look at him wrong, Willie will fucking just choke you out for no reason, man. Just don't look at him wrong. Just don't even look at him.
Oh, wow! I didn't know that. Yeah.
Oh no, really, for sure, man.
No.
Oh yeah, Willie. Oh yeah, because Willie's from Alaska. Hey, it goes like this, Mike. Willie will get out the chainsaw. You know the chainsaw, right? If we don't like you.
Oh, that's gotta hurt,
That's
man.
gotta
Fucking right. I see, Willie don't fuck around.
Jesus, Willie.
Oh man, he's a fucking bastard.
Well, I think that wasn't very nice, you know. That was not very nice. I think Willie's an asshole for chainsawing that person. And he should come over and see Grandma and tell me about why has he got to be such a mean man and chainsaw people like that. I'll give him a slice of apple pie. He'll feel better.
Grandma, why would you award him for something like that?
Well, maybe he needs someone to be nice to him, and he'll stop chainsawing the people like that.
Let's hope it works.
Grandma, go on, Grandma. You shouldn't be listening. Go on, Grandma. Go to bed. Go to bed. Don't listen.
I think, I see a lot of love going around, like the community, right? Like the Discord and Spreaker community. People are starting to find love, right? They're starting to get, their pussies wet, their dicks, exercised and shit like that. It's goodness, man. It calms the fucking waters a little bit, right?
It says top night. The fuck? Weird.
Well, I know a few people that haven't been getting any cock lately, and their oceans are fucking like fucking tsunamis, man.
Oh God! There's a island the size of Texas, I think, that's just all floating plastic garbage floating around. I think in the which ocean is it? Pacific, I think.
The Gulf of
It's
Mexico,
about like
man.
garbage island, yeah, like this.
Plastic garbage island.
Of where all the currents around the world all come together and ends up have this effect of collecting all the garbage and debris from around the world. And
yeah,
so you have a basically like
it's almost like
not
a
necessarily
vortex.
a solid island, but it's like garbage the size of the garbage pool the size of Texas floating out there in the ocean. And it doesn't look like the situation is going to get any better anytime soon.
Yeah, and maybe it'll start collecting dust and grow trees and shit on there. And it'll be a rotating, floating island.
We'll realize that that's how continents are formed. You know what I mean?
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
Well, it's a new way of continents to be formed. But I think it's probably got like a vortex in the middle of it that's like a tornado sucking this plastic down to the bottom of the sea at the same time it's collecting. It probably sucks it down to the bottom of the sea too, because it must have, if it's everything churning there and causing a vortex, then there's going to be a flute.
No, if you look at it by the space, it looks like a big sphincter, right?
Yeah. It's the world sphincter.
Kind of like spit once in a while. And all the birds, gravitate to that shit. All the fucking whatevers. What do they call that shit?
Seagulls?
Porcupines and
whatever,
porpoises and porcupines. They work together, actually. The porcupines will ride on the porpoises' backs, and they'll find that place, and they call it Shangri-La, Dennis. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, apparently, it's real.
It's real. Everything's real, right, C.W.?
Listen, I mean, to a degree. I mean, these concepts, these ideas, they're real to the people that they're real for. And so whenever I talk about these concepts or ideas, like there are plenty of people that I think their stories of alien abduction or involvement in secret space programs are BS. But I always try and remind myself that there are going to be people occasionally who are going to have fantastic far out of this world stories of alien abduction or my lab abduction that I might not necessarily believe really happened in the physical universe that I share with these people. But when you talk to these people, there's no doubt that they think it's real. So, look, who's to say that that's not real? I mean, it is what
everybody's
it is.
perception,
is an amazing thing. And the only things we ever experience are the things that we experience with our five senses. And when we go to sleep and dream, we get stimuli through those five senses as well. So
well, it's the photons that bounce off
what it
me
is,
and
man.
you that we see each other. That's why we know we're real. We perceive it. If you don't see it, then it's not. It may not be real. Nobody sees you. Like if a tree falls down in the forest, and nobody hears it. Is it there?
This word consciousness is energy, and we can manipulate consciousness just like electricity, and we can wire just like they quote unquote say our brains are wired. So our perception is wired, and this is where our discernment comes in. We take in our senses, like the gentleman was saying, or five senses, but I believe that consciousness is a sixth sense. So we bring these all together, formulate, extrapolate, and then we come up with our own truth. That's all.
I got a question about something here. Planet X. Does anybody know what happened to the Planet X hype and all that shit?
Played itself out.
Yeah, all that shit. Did it end yet or what? Did they find out it's all bullshit yet or what?
Well, that's what I mean. It's amazing that people will come onto the internet and claim that their life has been changed by this amazing revelation, whether it's the Planet X or whether it's flat Earth or whatever. And then, amazingly enough, a couple of months later, the whole phenomenon has gone away, as if it was almost just this game that people were playing with each other. You know what I mean? I truly wonder how many of these people who go off about Planet X really think and believe that it's true, or how many of these people who go off about being so impassioned about the flat Earth really think that's true either. I think that there's a lot of people out here playing the internet game of, so the guy mentioned before about Discord and, people socializing and romancing and all that stuff, and, having this little sense of community and a little sense of growth, and that, hits and endorphin hits. So that's a lot of the noise that we have to deal with in this little section of the internet. You know what I mean? Is that these phenomena are going to come up, they're going to last, and then before you know it, they go away like the sands of time.
Right on. Oh, and we got to say shout out to Snarky in the chat room. Shout out to Casper Park. Shout out to JP. JP's there. Yeah, Snarky's there. Cool. And Eric was there a while back. I forgot to shout out.
Eric Awakening, man. Yeah, Eric's my boy. Me and him are friends on Twitter.
Yeah, actually, that's
we're frenemies. We go back and forth.
I didn't even know that.
We disagree about so many things, but neither of us have ever blocked the other person. We're always communicating, we're always butting heads, but it's always a beautiful thing. So definite shout out to Eric, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. Eric is a character. I like Eric. We've butted heads to ourselves.
It's good to butt heads, man.
I have respect.
It's good. It's always good.
That's why I say let everybody butt heads.
My favorite quote from the Bible says, as steel is tested by steel and as iron is tested by iron, so is man tested by his fellow man. It is only by interacting and fighting with each other sometimes that our thoughts are shaken out and we get to see what's real and what needs work.
Also mentions the firmament.
Oh, yeah, the firmament.
Oh, yeah, the firmament. Don't forget the firmament. Come on now. There's your heart.
Oh, yeah, that's why the flat earth heads will say it's flat earth because of that. The firmament, right?
Sure, of course, the firmament. That's a crucial aspect of that. You need your firmament, you need your Antarctic ice wall, you know what I mean?
That, and then, and also the space is a gelatin substance, and it's all water up there. So how can we shoot if you shoot
and God in the Bible.
A rocket up into space, shouldn't that make all the water fall down in on us and flood us again?
There's always an explanation out there. There's always an explanation.
No, JP might have an explanation. JP, what's your thought on that, JP?
I'm just saying, if you're going to support any argument with the Bible, then you should also include that as a supporting argument. But I'm not part of any particular group. I just tend to believe that the Earth has been misdescribed to us, and I think there's still a lot left to learn about it. But I'm listening. I'm listening to both sides. I haven't, jumped full sail into like a flat Earth. I don't think anyone knows any more than the next person.
All right. How about this water? How about this water space? This water space thing.
Yeah. And they say that the Voyager probe, it can't go past the edge of our solar system. It's past Pluto, and it can't go any further because it's like the space gets thicker, like gel or water. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't see through it or something. I don't know what that is. I don't.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, what we do is when we do all these things. What I like to do is always like to remind myself. You know, when we think about from our highfalutin place in the first world, we might think of a primitive tribe, listening to their shaman or witch doctor explaining to them how the universe was made. Or we can look down on people from the Bible days who thought that, you know, God literally created the world in 6 days, and on the seventh day he had to rest because, you know, God needed a break. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, you always have to remind yourself that a huge part of what we think of in modern society as fact is just information that was told to us by a different kind of witch doctor or shaman, the quote unquote scientist. And so we don't know, you know, a lot of us will never know what these different things, you know, really are, but we'll be sat down in school and, you know, they'll tell us to open up our textbooks to page 100 and whatever. And they'll say things to us about the nature of life and how gravity works and all this stuff. And we just kind of remember it. And then before you know it, we're saying that everything else is foolish. But how do we know that stuff? We didn't go out and do those tests ourselves. We didn't do that. But at the same time, do you really want us to have to keep on reinventing the wheel? My attitude about it is that the Earth is probably a globe because not just one culture has come up with that conclusion, but many cultures around the world have come up with that conclusion. And so to maintain that the illusion of that model would take so much energy and effort that the truth would have probably come out at this point, given the number of people that are up there in airplanes, given the number of satellites that we see are being sent up there by not just America, not just the former Soviet Socialist Republic, but also China and India as well at this point. I figured somebody would spill the beans. And so my attitude about it is that it's probably because no one has come back yelling and screaming about the real truth about the Earth being misdescribed, that it's probably a globe. Having said that as well, what does it fucking matter to me or you or really the majority of us living our lives on planet Earth, trying to get along with our fellow man, trying to figure out what the right or wrong thing to do is, trying to gauge our moral actions and try and conduct ourselves in good behavior, trying to have good lives. I mean, really, does the shape of the Earth really enter into that equation anywhere?
Beautifully said. Beautifully mentioned, sir. Thank you very much. Beautiful.
You're very welcome. I'm here to be of service. You know what I mean? Helping to spread misinformation and lies on behalf of the FBI since 1995. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm joking. That last part was a joke.
Well,
or was it? Illuminati ground rules. I have to tell you the truth.
This is from Debbie Stabby Daily. From the Vulgate Firmamentum, which used to be the translation of the Hebrew word, which simply means expansion. It denotes the space or expanse like an arch appearing immediately above us. They who rendered a rack, it almost looks like Reiki, right? I'm not sure how you rakia by fermentation regarded it as a solid body. The language of scripture is not scientific but popular. Hence we read the sun rising and setting. We also have use of this popular word. It is a plain. I'm just kind of going fast. This is where I want to hear it. Okay. Hence, where is this? Also here, the use of this popular word, it is plain that it is used to denote solidity as well as expansion. It formed a division between the waters above and the waters below. Genesis 1:7. That's what I was looking for, the division. Expansion.
Whatever.
So I mean, my attitude about
this archway
about the Bible is that it does. There's information in there that even if it's literally not true, there's still some of the lessons of metaphors and moralities and aphorisms that are going to have value to us. They're going to be as true yesterday as they were today. So I don't get banged up about the fact that, you know, that it might not literally be true as far as its description of
Maybe
the
they're just talking about
origin of the
clouds and
universe.
condensation and rain
Stories.
and how it could be.
Man. There's just
It says right at the end how the rain and snow might descend. So they're just talking about clouds, man. That's it. I think they're just talking about clouds and how water forms and water vapor in the sky and falls down on you. That's all they're talking about waters above and waters below. I think that's all it means. Seriously, they're saying it's in space. That doesn't say that.
You know, I gotta say this, Mike. See, because I have a lot of I will say this, where that language, petroglyphs, hieroglyphs, symbols. See, analogies. see, people use language to try to explain something, but see, back in the day, per se, they used analogies to words. That's why I use the word fuck a lot. Fuck this, fuck that. You can go fucking fuck yourself, you fucking fuck. But you know, it's using that word to condense a lot of what you want to say. So what they use are symbols, right? To, you know, it's obvious, you know, to explain without going, you know, to write a whole fucking alphabet, you know. And this is symbolism, analogies. To write a novel, if you write a novel that's 400 pages, if you write it all in analogies, you can do it in fucking 20 pages. Done. Fucking be able to fucking pick up that message in those words. All right, with the pictures. See, analogies. That's the way I work. Analogies. You got to make pictures with words.
A comic book can contain a lot of information because of the use of illustrations. Yeah. Right, so I get it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. What am I doing here?
I get a lot of my messages that way.
Oh God, a lot.
You don't really know me. So
anyway, that was from Debbie Daly.
If I lost the signal or what's going on.
Snarky used to give us those kind of responses, but now Debbie did it, so it's pretty cool. I mean, sorry, Stabby used to do it. Anyway, Snarky says, hello? Are you there? Hello?
Got nothing.
You got nothing? What?
I got something.
Are we back?
We were back. We are here.
Okay, well, I was talking and all of a sudden I heard dead silence. So I don't know what the hell was going on.
All right, never mind. I was talking nonsense, and then I just realized that dead silence was better than listening to me anyway. Right?
There you go. Well, we already played Biko by Peter Gabriel. Might as well do John Cage's 1 minute of silence.
Oh, let's give 1 minute of silence for this train wreck.
There you go.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, you know what? You know, here's a joke. Whenever somebody tells you because there's dead silence, I want to fill the space because I'm apparently pretty good at that. Just fucking opening my mouth up and just fucking spewing. So it goes like that. When someone says, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel, you know, when they say, oh, the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Look forward to the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And you know what? And I get a buddy that says to me, yeah, you know what that light is, man? That's a train that's about to run you fuck over, buddy.
Entirely possible, right? Exactly. Well, like we said before, it's like there's a set of circumstances. It's all the way you look at it, and you can spin it any way you want to. But the set of circumstances is still the set of circumstances.
That's it, man. It doesn't matter. Live with it, man. Fuck.
It is. It's like, you know. Look, if you don't get backed up about it, try and find your way to smile about it, and you'll see that if you find the way to smile about it, you're looking at something that's funny. You know.
You're right, man. Okay. You know, and I see so many people that get so butt hurt about fucking other people's the way they look at them and stuff like that. It's like, fuck, man. Maybe you gotta think why they're looking at you like that. Maybe there's something wrong with you or something. Maybe they're fucking laughing. Maybe they got some problem with you. Maybe figure out within yourself what the problem is, or what are you ignoring within yourself? Fuck. You know, live life, man. Enjoy it. You know, fuck. We're only here for like 100 years or something, if you're lucky.
If we're lucky, exactly.
Enjoy
yeah.
it, man. Fuck. You know?
Hey. From your mouth to God's or goddess's ears. You know, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, you know what? And you were talking about the golden rule, whatever like that. Reality creation shit. I refer to reality creation, but a lot of people refer to as being butterfly effect. They call it manifestation of reality. Whatever you
Right,
want to
right,
fucking
right,
call it, I
right.
don't give a fuck. Right? But we create our own reality. We just happen to be sharing this time and space together. So create your own reality. Whatever you do, you're gonna fucking have to deal with and live with. If you don't like what's happening, it's probably because you fucked up somewhere. Okay? And you gotta figure that shit out. Because everybody's fucking living in the same time space here and now as you are. They're all living their own
Right.
life too. So if things are going wrong for you, figure it out. Because nobody's really gonna fucking help you out, buddy. Oh, unless you want, a doctor.
Well, look, at my attitude about it is that there's going to be things that we live our lives, and we do our best to try and make the best decisions that we can to hopefully do right by not only ourselves but the other people around us as well. And there's going to be times when that bears fruit and turns out for the best, and there's going to be times when we end up tripping up and falling straight on our face. And so, no matter what you do, there's never been a religion that's come upon the face of the planet Earth that said, "Oh yeah, if you adopt this way of being, if you adopt this practice, you're never going to get cancer, you're never going to get sick. Your life is going to be full of happiness and sunshine, and $1 million checks every other Tuesday." No, it's all about the state of the world stays the same. It's just that it'll give you a language and a tool set to try and interpret that world in a different way that will turn the trials and tribulations of adversity into life lessons or God working in mysterious ways. And even if it's a crock of shit for the believer themselves, even though it might be a pretty little lie, it's still a lie that's going to make life potentially livable, and that's going to give them a break or give them some sort of hope to keep on keeping on and carry on to the next day.
Right. See, that's what religion gives. I believe what religion gives is the purpose for religion is to give people comfort for something that they believe that is something that is above them. Okay. All right. As being, like you were mentioning, a spiritual life, new age guy or whatever, spiritual person, whatever. But there is something. Okay. And so, so this is where microcosms come in with the religion. And so, people take comfort in that. Some people take advantage of that and take power and control of that religion. I call religion, any religion, a cult. And it's a lot of people take comfort in religion, in their belief, and whatever they believe is good for them, right? So it's good for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, they always talk about, like, just because my attitude about it is, like, I've got my own faith, I've got my own religion, you know what I mean? The reason that my channel is called the C.W Chanter channel, and the reason that my pen name on YouTube is C.W Chanter, is because I have a faith called Commonwealth Chanting that I came up with myself. I was a spiritual seeker. I went to many different religions and faiths, seeking answers, seeking a place where I could belong, seeking a place that would be 100% good fit. And I never found one. So I've looked back on my role in my life as a seeker. I looked at the things that I took from each individual faith that I saw that I liked, that I thought that worked, that I thought were universal practices from, for living. And I incorporated that into my own religion called Commonwealth Chanting. And so I even though I'll say things like on the air that drive people up the wall, I'll say things like, I'm an atheist, I'm not an atheist. And what that means is that though it might be a total crock, I'll talk about God or goddess all the time, acknowledging the fact that it might be just a myth, just might be a metaphor, but also acknowledging the fact that that powerful myth and metaphor can be so manifestly real in our lives that they are effectively real. I talk about this all the time. Maybe this will make sense. I go, on 9/11, on September 11th, 2001, if you were sitting at the top of the World Trade Center, it doesn't really matter whether or not you believe in Allah or God or not. The fact of whether or not God is real or not real is at that point entirely academic, because at that point, Allah is about to strike you down, whether you believe in him or not, in a very real way. So, even if it's just as a mental concept that exists within the minds of men, because so much of what we experience and what happens to us is really the effect of not natural things like rain or weather or hurricanes or storms or earthquakes, but is the result of the actions of our fellow human beings on this spaceship Earth. The guy that's going to murder us is not, a rainstorm. He's a murderer who's got his own individual economic and psychological drives and motivations or beliefs. If the voices in his head are telling him to take you out, it doesn't really matter if you can't hear those voices. Those voices are the realest thing in your life, and they're going to be the realest thing in your life right before your life is gone.
Dude, what do you think of the Billy Myers case?
The Billy Myers case is a total crock. I mean, Billy Myers is the archetype, and there are people still alive today on planet Earth playing out the Billy Myers game. Billy Myers is a guy who, at a time where the technology wasn't so sophisticated, he started doing his thing in the late 1960s, the early 70s, I believe. And he was blowing people's minds with these quote-unquote photographs or photographic evidence and proof of his adventures. But, as things go, over the years, there have been people that have been personally obsessed with the Billy Meyer case and have debunked almost all of his work, especially the photographs. Like, for the three most famous photographs are, he has a photograph of a spaceship, and then someone proved using materials that would have been available to him. He's a Dutch individual, I believe. I believe he lives in Holland.
No, he lives in Switzerland, and he's German. Doesn't really matter, but he's Switzerland and he's German.
They found the actual type of garbage cans that would have been available at that time, and the different things, and they put things together, and they reproduced almost all the photographs that he did. Wow. Also, this famous photograph that was supposed to be, I think, of a Palladian woman who had encountered him or took him on board a spaceship.
Yeah.
And it turns out that photo was actually, he took a photo of it was actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Dean Martin broadcast that Dean Martin apparently had a variety show that played over the air in whatever country Billy Meyer was from, and Billy Meyer snapped a grainy photograph of one of the chicks while she was on the TV, and then went around telling people that it was this Palladian woman. He also made several predictions that weren't true. He also had photos of supposed dinosaurs that he took outside of a spacecraft when a spacecraft took him, into ancient times. But it turns out that photograph, they found the actual book, the children's school book about dinosaurs that picture came from. So his entire stuff has been debunked. What's really fascinating about him today is the fact that there's one guy called Michael Horn who believes 100% in Billy Meyer and is constantly crashing MUFON conventions and stuff.
Yeah,
and making fun of all other whistleblowers and other contactees and saying that they're all ripping off Billy Meyer's case, which is the only scientifically verifiable case of true extraterrestrial contact known to man. I mean, Billy Myers is a crock, but and even this is that if you want to get really to the sad
I was watching the Michael Horn thing. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Billy Meyer's own son and ex-wife have debunked him. His own son has come out and said, look, my father is a touched individual. He's an interesting guy. He's a creative person, but he's got a mental problem. And he's a compulsive liar. And he says that, he was with his dad. All the kids had to help the dad, recreate these effects and stuff. And it's all total bunko. But in the wake of Billy Meyer, there have been numerous contactees that have repeated the whole Billy Meyer thing. I've met all these extraterrestrial aliens. They care about us. They came from beyond because humanity has so much potential and so much growth at this young part of our genesis and origin story. But if we don't do things the right way, it could be apocalypse. And if we do things the right way, we're going to go into 5-dimensional ascended living. So you see this Billy Meyer effect repeated in the work of guys like Alex Collier, or now the latest guy, Corey Goode, with his blue avian phenomenon. And it is what it is. But unfortunately, Billy Myers, it's okay science fiction, I guess. But it's complete crap. I mean, this none of this stuff ever happened. You know what I mean? It's been debunked 6 ways till Sunday. If you want to believe in it at this point, you're choosing to believe in it. It's not because there's any sort of real reason to think that it's true.
Right. That's the whole thing about being human. You have a choice to believe it or not, to discern and to judge and to extrapolate facts, whatever you want to take them, how you take them, where you take them. Now, I have to ask you a question, sir. In
Sure.
regards to the New Age or spirituality, New Age peoples or whatever. What? Okay. Because I'm fascinated. Okay. In regards to these types of things. Now, there's this new documentary series on TV. Alien, ancient aliens, ancient alieners,
Sure.
ancient alieners.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
new. That's really old.
Is that the new? No. Is that the new thing now? The ancient? Because I know a guy.
No,
I know a guy that
the
does,
ancient alien thing comes down to the work of two key individuals. There was a guy named Eric von Däniken who wrote
Aaron
a book
von Däniken.
in the early 1970s called Chariots of the Gods.
Yeah.
And there was also a guy called Zecharia Sitchin who had, I think it was called the 12th Planet series, that basically, when it comes to the work of Eric Van Dyken, it goes something like this. If we look at things like the Nazca lines, if we look at the hieroglyphics of pyramids in Egypt, if we look at all these
mostly
ancient,
Pascal
locations and places,
what he's famous for,
we're not
the
seeing
Lord Pascal
people
from,
talking about gods and goddesses and deities and angels or spirits or demons. These are people that are actually documenting their real life interaction with aliens.
Well, how do you feel
And so
about
the
them?
ancient
How do
alien
you feel about
theory goes as follows: that basically, mankind was existing at level 1 or whatever, and then all of a sudden things took an amazing leap forward because aliens. You know what I mean? It's like that classic meme of that guy with the hair, George Takoulos. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm not saying that it was aliens, but it was aliens. You know what I mean? So all this stuff, and again, look, I mean, all this stuff is a fascinating theory, and it's interesting to look at and study.
Why build
and there
so
might be some
big?
truth there, but for the
Why
most
didn't
part,
they
a lot of
use
this
smaller
stuff is
blocks?
just speculation.
They had to be ancient aliens.
I know, but I want
Had to be. The only thing makes any sense, right?
Yeah. Why would they build so big? Why didn't they use smaller blocks? Just
I want to hear people.
why so
the
big?
Anunnaki,
Had to be aliens.
Anunnaki, the monkeys.
Anyway,
You almost want to, and then then it's the same thing with when it comes to Zecharia Sitchin. He's the guy that looked at these Sumerian tablets and was telling people that these Sumerian tablets told the story of the Anunnaki who came from far away because they needed gold for their atmosphere.
Yeah.
And so they ended up turning monkeys into human beings to create a slave race because they needed to mine more gold for their atmosphere. Which is interesting, though, is that Zecharia Sitchin's book stating those things is preceded in time by the works of a man that you may have heard about. Some people have heard about him, called L. Ron Hubbard, who wrote a book called Battlefield Earth that had basically almost the exact same premise. That aliens had to come to planet Earth and enslave us because they needed gold to preserve their atmosphere.
But
Now, I don't know exactly which one came first, the chicken or the egg, but the point is this, is that there's no reason to think that Zecharia Sitchin knew how to speak Sumerian, knew how to translate Sumerian tablets, or knew what the hell he was talking
as a
about.
matter of fact, you can actually
But
go
what-
and check out the Sumerian tablets yourself. There's a university page where you can actually they're all translated for you. You can make your own assumptions out of it. You don't have to believe Zecharia Sitchin out. You can just read them yourself. The stories they're right there for anyone to read, man.
Right.
It doesn't
And
take.
people that have interviewed Zecharia Sitchin shortly before his death, he basically kind of admitted that it was quote unquote channeled information, meaning that he just had a hunch and a theory and he went with it.
Yeah.
That's all well and good, but it might make for entertaining reading, but it might not necessarily constitute the sort of stuff you're going to want to be trying to memorize before your history test in college.
The stuff is pretty screwed up, though. I'm telling you, the if you start reading them, you can find the Gilgamesh story with Noah's flood, and it's pretty much the same story. You can find that in Egyptian text.
Listen,
you can find the same story over and over. All these religions are copying the same books and doing the same thing over everywhere.
Sure.
And
it's also
I gotta sort of agree
lives
with.
and adventures. Like the fact of the matter is that humanity, to develop agricultural society, would have had to do so near the banks of rivers, whether it be the Euphrates or the Nile or whatever. So of course they're all going to have flood myths and flood stories, because that would be
They
the
all
sort of
got it.
thing that would happen all the time. They would have monsoons. They would have
Yeah, I know, but like,
cataclysmic
and then
things that would
okay,
shake it
but
all
then
up.
you get stories with the same guy born on the same day and different, like a mother and the baby, like Mike and all this Babylon. You got Jesus and the baby. You got pictures of them in Babylon already, man.
Right.
Mike, don't be dissing my brother. Don't be dissing my brother. Right? This is my brother. Okay?
Who's that?
We
Dennis?
all know that.
Where?
Jesus is my brother.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway.
Hey, Jesus is a heck of a guy. I used to buy drugs from him all the time.
Yeah, man. Jesus is cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He anointed me. Now I can see. It was marijuana oil.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you better hope it was marijuana oil. All you know is that he asked you to close your eyes right before he did the quote-unquote anointing.
Oh, yeah.
Before he puts a pearl necklace over your hand.
He anointed
I was
the
gonna
pearl
say.
necklace. Yeah.
Pearl tiara.
Ooh.
Yikes.
That's a bad one. Ooh. Oh, man. Somebody just threw a brick through the church window.
Hey, listen, they had it coming.
Oh.
No pun intended.
Well, anyway, that's what I think of that. I do agree with one thing that Billy Myers had to say in that thing, and that's about like how religions have just been screwing with people's heads, and it's all just fake,
religion.
you know. It's all fake.
I don't give a fuck.
I think it's
Well,
all
they-
fake. This is fake.
You know what?
Just all stories. Control people that can't control themselves.
That's right. It's called power and control. Control
Well,
the
look, I
people.
mean, all these institutions at the end is the people are going to have to participate. Them, and they're going to have to ask themselves questions about, you know, what do they really believe about it, and there's going to be people that are going to exploit anything. You know what I mean? It's like there's the power of music, and then there's the music industry. There's the power of art, and then there's the ivory towers of Sotheby's, you know, selling, you know, computer-generated art for millions and millions of dollars. It is what it is. There's always going to be pluses and minuses in any category you look at, questions that need to be answered, questions that need to be asked. You know what I mean? And reasons to protest.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're a young man. I'm very impressed with you, sir.
Well, thank you. I'm still impressed with the fact that at 43 years old, I could be referred to by anyone as a young man.
Yeah, no shit, man.
Yeah, well.
What are you impressed with? What are you looking at? I don't see it.
Well, I'm seeing where he is. You know, because, sir, I kind of like I read energy.
He must be checking out my personal page on Drunk
Yeah.
Straight Boys or
Looking at something,
BrokeStraightBoys.com.
That's pretty clear, man. I mean, it's clear. I hear you clear. I didn't say that. I can hear you clear.
No, I don't like to really people out that way. Okay, so I'm just saying that I pick up on your energy and it's good. I like it. And it's good stuff. So you know you're
Thank you.
appreciated, noted, and thanked.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. And if you like if you like the cut of my jib, as it were, if you like what I'm saying, you're definitely absolutely. I tell anybody who's interested, or whose interest has been piqued or picked or whatever you want to say, to check out my YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Take it for what it is. I lay it all out there. I do my best to be as transparent as possible to let people know where I'm coming from. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, at least you'll know where I'm coming from, and at least hopefully you'll be able to walk away appreciating the fact that in a world full of so many people that are putting on lies and make-believe games, I'm doing my best to be as honest as possible, warts and all.
Yeah, and howling wolves at the moon.
There you go. Yeah, baby, what's up?
Benjamin, I am Dennis Deitch on Facebook. Dennis Deitch, landscape constructor from Toronto, Ontario. I have a lot of friends, like-minded friends, and I have a tight community on my Facebook.
You know,
I hold my friends very close.
Life's not all guessing games. Sometimes We have to
Yeah,
care
yeah,
about
whatever.
friends.
And bring out Igor, man. I want to fucking choke Igor, man, for fuck's sake. Gertrude hasn't been out in a while.
Well, what do you want Igor for? He hasn't pissed off at anyone yet.
No, I know, but he hasn't let Gertrude out in a while.
Oh boy.
Gertrude, don't tell Igor, Mike. Gertrude secretly called me today.
No. You're gonna get
Yes,
electrocuted
she's
just for saying that. You know that, eh?
What? Oh, no, Igor can't hear.
Yeah. You didn't know that? He's always listening to it. Oh shit! See what you did, dude? Look what you did.
Gertrude,
You dummy.
fuck.
He's coming.
Man.
Mr. Dennis! I heard you, Mr. Dennis. Why are you talking to my Gertrude? Ugly girl with warts. You don't touch her warts.
Igor, I hear that you're eating all the fucking bodies before you even get fucking Gertrude a chance to fucking nibble on. You fucking selfish bastard.
Maybe I will just get a nobody for her to eat. It's called a Dennis stew. I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus. Gertrude, stop shooting. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. I have to go. I'm sorry I had to shoot Dennis and chainsaw him and stuff. Goodbye, mister. Goodbye.
Jesus.
That happened.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when, Jesus. Damn. He had to mention the guy's girlfriend, eh?
That's how it happens, man. That's so many times. That's how it goes down at the party.
Dennis. Poor Dennis. He went out hard.
He did.
Ooh. Man. Okay, well, somebody's got to clean that up. Well, did everybody like the electrocution and everything? It didn't get electrocuted? Oh, yeah, just chainsaw, didn't he?
That's what I was going to say.
That was
the strangest and the craziest thing about the electrocution, the thing that went down in paranormal history, was it sounded exactly like a chainsaw.
Yeah, it wasn't even an electrocution. Yeah. Oh, dang. Okay, well, he didn't even need the electrocution. He did. Jesus. Chainsaw's worse, man. Jeez.
I was going to say, right?
Oh, see what? He's down there in the dungeon now, and yeah, he's got legs cut off, and I can hear him in the dungeon. Dennis is still alive.
The point is that now he finds himself in the dungeon with his legs cut off. He has to ask himself a critical question. Is he going to get depressed about it? Is he going to give up and just spend his entire life out there?
We talked about this.
Or is he going to take the optimist position and say, you know what? Here I am in a dungeon with my legs cut off, but still life has purpose, and begin the slow process of rebuilding himself and dragging himself out from the bottom back to the top of the stairs, as it were.
Well, the first step is we can still hear him.
Or maybe we're just hearing his ghost.
Ooh.
It is a monster castle. And apparently paranormal at that.
Yeah, it's pretty weird in here, man, but... Well... I need some.
There you go.
Well, we have to do. We got a request for devil rap.
Well, how long do you guys go with this show? Because unfortunately, it's 1:30 in the morning, so I'm gonna have to kind of get going myself.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's okay, man. If you gotta go, you've been here a long time, dude. And yeah, we appreciate you being here.
We started
man.
right around 11.
I don't even know, but it is going to end any minute. I know this episode.
Oh, well, if it's going to end any minute, I mean, if you're going to wrap up, I'll stick around to the end because you know what I mean. I like to. I don't want to. I didn't know if you guys were going to be going for another epic 5 hours.
Oh no, I don't know if I'll do that tonight, but let's see how long have we been going here? Dang. because I restarted it there. I actually can't tell. All I know is that it's over 2 hours ago.
Right.
It's not on. There's no. I have nothing. No. No, I have nothing to tell me. I'm surprised, actually. I'm using a different encoder there that, like I told you, that rocket repeater thing. So it doesn't actually, I'm surprised. It doesn't tell me how long it's been going since I started it.
That's a crucial piece of information you'd always want.
Yeah, it doesn't actually tell me. Wow. It does a lot of other cool shit, but it doesn't do that. And,
It'll tell you the time of day in Botswana.
Oh, I can tell just by what time it is approximately. When it's
so that's what I was doing. Unfortunately, because it seems like we're doing this in two big chunks. Because we were talking before for a while, and then all of a sudden it seemed like that stream went down for whatever reason. And you started another one.
1, 2. So it's gonna end within a half hour.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, within a half hour. Yeah, it started around 11:15. Yeah. So yeah, within a half hour. I can just remember what time it is. But that's all we're gonna get. Besides, we put Dennis in the dungeon now, and he's got his legs cut off.
Right. Where do you go from there?
Yeah, I know, man. Like, what's gonna happen next? Oh Jesus! Holy shit! Damn it! See? You never know what's gonna happen around here. Holy shit! Something blew a hole through the ceiling. Okay. We're getting rained on in here.
That's how the light gets in.
Yep. That's okay. So do you do anything else? Do you play music? Were you a musician when you were a kid? Did you have
Yeah, in fact, if you go to my YouTube channel, like I've been doing a lot of music lately. I've been doing I do like long form experimental ambient drone pieces that go on for about 4 or 5 hours. So I do a lot of music, and I started off life as a bass player, and I quickly graduated to keyboards, got into techno and experimental music and stuff, and followed that and did that for a while. Then I kind of gave that up for life reasons, but I always had it as a hobby. But then having the YouTube channel has given me an opportunity to kind of get back into that world a little bit and do some sound art. So if you like experimental ambient, trancy, droney performances that go on for hours and hours on end with no aim or clear sense of direction, you can check out my YouTube channel as well. And that's just simply C.W Chanter on YouTube.
Beautiful. It sounds like Igor just let him out. Damn it. Okay, Dennis might be back. Dennis, how's it feel with no legs, buddy?
Yeah, I know. I'm working around it, man.
Are you all right?
You got to deal with what you got. No, I'll be okay, man. I got fucking bandages and shit.
Did you burn them? Or what do you do, man?
That's a quick repair. Already.
Dude, your legs are all burned up.
Bouncing back, and I got my hat's off to you.
Dude, it's all burned. Your legs are burned.
It doesn't matter, man. I'll fucking deal with it in the morning.
Oh, fuck.
I'll deal with it.
It's gotta hurt, dude.
It's a write-off.
Okay, man.
Was it worth it just to piss off like Igor just because his girlfriend called you? Now you got no legs.
Yeah, I know. I'll fucking get him attached in the morning, man. It's no big fucking deal.
Okay. You still got him in a bag there?
No, that's okay.
Yeah, you definitely want to save them.
Yeah, I know. You got it. Yeah, I know. They're on ice already.
Okay. All
right.
So you want to finish? Okay. Well, we'll finish the interview with no legs. No problem.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I stopped the bleeding. It's all right. Okay. I just want to ask this gentleman.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned lucid dreaming. What's your take on that lucid dreaming thing?
Well, lucid dreaming is an actual thing. I mean, I definitely had experiences of it, and there's people that have done a lot of work in trying to crack that nut. There have been people that have been experimenting with it for generations and generations. My thing with dreaming is that a lot of people put a lot of value into their dreams and interpreting the dreams, and either from a Jungian, psychological or psychoanalytical standpoint, or this kind of more new agey concept of, oh, if you have a dream about flying, it means you're going to have new opportunities ahead or whatever. Look, sometimes dreams are dreams, and sometimes dreams are just your brain, could be just your brain farting out the unresolved information you had from the day's events. You know what I mean? If you fall asleep in front of the TV watching X-Files, you're probably going to dream about that. And if you fall asleep to the sound of rain, don't be surprised if you take a shower in your dream. And it's one of those things. And the power of lucid dreaming is something very interesting. At certain points in my life, I put a lot of effort into trying to master the techniques for the end results that everybody tries to master those techniques for. That you're going to sleep with Marilyn Monroe, that you're going to know what it's like to travel in a spaceship. It was what it was. And all I ended up doing was giving myself having some very freaky experiences occasionally. But it is what it is, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
See, I do a lot of that. I do a lot of that stuff, right? Now, you can call it astral travel or out-of-body experience, OBE. Yeah, whatever you want to call it, whatever. And I find, because this is why I'm asking you, because I just want to mention how I kind of like see these things in my dreams.
Sure.
Is where that is that it's your subconscious processing, like you mentioned, your daily events. It could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be over a year where that you haven't processed. Now, for my belief system, is where that a lot of where a lot of people meditate, try to clear their mind, whatnot. What I do myself is I process. I call it processing, and I'll process daily events. See where that I don't want my dream time to be consumed by my subconscious thoughts that I haven't resolved any issues or problems. Because what I find in my dream time is where that I will find myself, because I'm a lucid dreamer, solving those problems or working through different variations of solutions in my dream, and it pisses me off because it's interrupting my free mind, per se, if you want to call it that. I'm trying to say this really fast, and so where that I try to tap into my not necessarily my unconscious, okay, my conscious being, right, where that I can fully see inside, outside myself at the same time, right? So where that I can discern and in my dream, what am I dreaming? Like, okay, man, the way I dream, people mention to me I should write books on this stuff, how to do this. People ask me all the time how you do it. But so I learn. See, I feel as though that the dream time is a learning time to learn.
Sure.
Universe, yes, and when your subcon gets caught up in it, it's your brain is fucking you up. And again, like I mentioned earlier, in regards to 3D distractions and whatnot, where the universe has everything to provide, it has so much more to provide in dream time. And now, so that when we're working out our subconscious everyday bullshit, right? That we go to sleep with stuff on our mind, the old cliche. Yeah, you wake up with a solution, whatever like that. But that's a lot of work, and so that there's so much when you're lucid. If you're able to lucid like that, like remember and actually, walk through your dreams and being totally conscious in your dreams.
Right.
That's where universe has so much to offer, man. Just your thoughts on that, sir, please. Thank you.
Yeah, look, I've definitely done my share of experiments with lucid dreaming. I've had a couple of quote unquote wins where I was able to be fully cognizant in the dream and then manifest that power and utilize it to greater or lesser extents to have different experiences. But at the end of the day, I think the reason that I stopped exploring lucid dreaming was because I really kind of wanted to see what I would experience, just what my dreams would be naturally, not interfered with or looked at.
Dennis,
I
what are
think
you
there's
doing?
value in the practice that you're describing because it kind of sounds
Okay,
like
wait a minute. No, wait a minute.
with a goal
Well,
with a goal in
stop that.
mind, you're
Okay,
you're
I gotta.
clearing out the
Okay.
day's events or making sure that that's like the great work. You're making sure that your situations are resolved and that your mental energy is not being dissipated into fruitless conflicts or psychological hang-ups.
Well, just a minute.
If I'm
He didn't.
understanding you
Dennis,
correctly.
he didn't say wet dreaming. He said lucid dreaming. Remember? Like, what are you doing over there?
We all do that stuff. I
I
mean, so the
really
experiments that I did with lucid dreaming culminated in the notion of following those paths that led to you'd be able to sleep with whatever woman you'd want, or you'd have these amazing sexual or erotic or debauched experiences, or you place yourself there. And they're interesting, and I definitely had experiences there. But at the end of the day, you come back to planet Earth, and and you had that experience, and you can tell people about that experience. But it's not as though people are going to regard you as having had that experience, And but that's all just games as well,
It's all fake,
the value that people have or place in sexual conquest or the like. I mean, that's me. I mean, look, all of these activities, all of these things that people study, lucid dreaming, tarot cards, astral travel, out of body experiences.
It's all from the devil,
scrying.
It's all devil stuff.
It's all yoga. It's all activities that are engaged in to focus the mind to achieve an end. And the end being the acquisition of gnosis, even if it's just the gnosis of peace of mind.
In the Bible, I'm from the Vatican, and my name is Father Guido Stargucci. How are you, sir?
Not bad. How are you doing?
Anyways, you're talking a gnosis. We made those books, and not good. You don't listen to that stuff. It's not in our Bibles. All you should do is just listen to everything we tell you. Go to church, you do this thing like that, and you go to heaven.
I hear you, and that's one of the things. That's a trip in and of itself. And there's certain people that you get out of it what you put into it. There's certain people that show up to the Roman Catholic Mass on Sunday dutifully, and all they get out of it is the experience of having to do something out of patterns that they don't even understand or know how they work themselves.
But sometimes,
there's other people that will throw themselves into the experience.
But
we got more out of it because they're thinking about it, and they're trying to manifest the power of God in their life, or they're going to the soup kitchen to contribute, or they're studying the catechism in depth, or the life.
But let me tell you one thing.
Of the saints.
Do you think there's really a God? Why do you think we are looking with our telescopes? We got the biggest of observatories from the Vatican all over the world. So why do you think we're looking up there?
Well, I don't know, and when it comes to the notion of God, the concept can be as limited or as far-reaching as you choose to manifest.
We want to get to the alien babies.
There's no such thing as a God, and they feel very proud of themselves for being an atheist, and they pat themselves on the back and they go, I'm so smart. These guys are idiots, and I know that there's no such thing as God.
No, there is an alien babies.
There's the expanse of the universe. There's existence in and of itself. I mean, there's things to be blown away by. I mean, there's things that are transcendental, as I see it, though. And then people could call me a fool and say that I'm foolhardy for not thinking that it's just, or keeping my level of reasoning or understanding at the level of chemical reactions or ones and zeros or cellular structure. I choose to believe. I choose to believe because it makes life more interesting. If there is no God, then there's no harm or sin in imagining one up, right?
Well, that's right. I'm telling you, all we worry about is when we see with our telescopes of these flying saucers, we zap them down with our particle beam of weapons, and then first to argue to the. I'm the first one on the scene, and I get to defend the aliens. And if there's any alien babies, I get to baptize them. First we take an alien babies and we baptize them. That's the way. That's
slave labor,
we gotta baptize them first. We gotta be the first ones. Brainwash the little stupid fucking alien babies.
Yeah.
You know.
That's it, man.
We have to be the first one.
Yeah, you gotta make them humanized. You gotta make them like.
Yeah, we gotta get them and smack them on the head, and then we take them. I'll show you one. Here's one right here. You want to see an alien babies? Okay, come on, you little shit. Come on, honey. Come on. Take him out of this thing. Come on, you little bugger.
That's right.
Yeah. First, we put his head in there. We take the head, we push it in the water. He don't like it. See that? He don't like that.
That's right.
Come on, get your head there. Come on. Take it a little back. Yeah. In the name of Father, you're going to be baptized. You listen to the church, I'm going to stretch his little finger like this. Ooh. Yeah. Get your head in there. Oh, he doesn't like that. Hey, little babies. Uh-oh. Oh. Ooh. All right, that's how we do it. And then alien babies, they're now with the church,
That's the way we baptized down here, man. You fucking alien fucking goose. You fucking drown them in fucking water. So just about not be able to fucking breathe. You're good to go.
Alien babies.
That's why we call it Baptist to Baptist.
Yeah.
Because you got fucking baptized in fucking water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're one of those Catholics, you just get a drop of water on your head. Because they're a bunch of fucking pussies. Fucking Catholics. Oh, whatever. Fuck, man. Oh, fuck. Fuck, man.
Alien babies.
Heads up on that, man.
Hello.
Mr. Darren. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Good.
We were just having fun with...
Casper still there?
Yes.
I was going to ask him what is the best lucid dream, like, non-sexual would be like. Has he ever traveled anywhere?
Who's this question for?
For you.
Oh, no, I mean, like, my experiments in lucid dreaming, like I said, it was one of those techniques and exercises that I engaged in for a while, and just quickly abandoned it because, like I said, like I was much more interested in seeing what my brain would come up spontaneously. It was interesting to see the effect that I could have on lucid dreaming. But like I said, what I would call my successes were all adolescent desires to manifest various sexual experiences. And the fact of the matter is I couldn't tell you that I went anywhere. Though I can tell you that I've gone other places in dreams that were not lucid dreams, not dreams where I was in control, not dreams where I was cognizant of the fact that I was dreaming, but dreams when I woke up in the morning, quickly ran for my pen and paper, my dream journal, and wrote them down as best as I could in order to hold on to these precious memories of very strange events and very strange experiences.
Strange events.
As far,
please, could you share, please? I'm really interested in this, please.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, the most interesting things for me might not be things that might be interesting for other people because they weren't experiences. The most interesting experiences I had in dream states were not experiences of necessarily seeing golden pyramids or going to the Orion Council, but they were experiences where in the morning when I woke up and meditated upon the dream from beginning to end, came away with some secret information or knowledge that was pertinent to myself. And the real great work of what I think all this stuff is designed to do, of coming to an understanding of who you really are. So whether it be something like I'd have an experience with, like I've had experiences with people that I haven't spoken to for a long time, or people that I had a grudge with. Like, for example, I'll give you a great example. In my personal life, and I'm very open about my personal life on my YouTube channel, I desire to be as transparent as possible, to be as authentic as possible, give people permission to say you don't have to present yourself as a finely tuned, mediated image or persona. You could just be yourself, and that's the most beautiful thing of
Right.
all,
Oh
warts and
yeah.
all. In my
That is
personal
cool.
life, I was once part of a family business that fell into very, very bad disrepair and acrimony, and it involved people that were formerly people that used to have Thanksgiving dinner together every year, used to go to Seder's together every year together, uh, led to those family bonds and those connections falling apart absolutely. And there was a lot of unresolved stuff sometimes, and stuff that unfortunately, due to for want of a better term, the unenlightened nature of some of the people involved in it, will never be resolved. There are people that in my life who, though I have things I would love to discuss with them, and I would love to think that there might be a point in time or history where those things might be discussed or bread might be broken again, it probably won't happen. So I had a very powerful dream
Right.
one time where I was in an elevator going down from a deposition. And in this elevator trip going down, I spoke to this family member who I unfortunately have no relationship with in real time on planet Earth as we know it. And a lot of stuff was said. And what was very important to me is and these words might not mean anything to anybody else except me, is that in this dream, this individual shared with me their point of view. And in the morning, what I came to a realization was it wasn't a point of view that I would have consciously put in their head. Like, for example, if I were to imagine, oh, gee, they might be feeling this or that way
What you
about the
did come out.
situation,
Right.
judging them, I might feel like they might have a reservation about me or thinking I'm lazy or this, that, or the other thing.
Right.
But the information that they shared in the stream was not information that I would have thought would have come from myself, from my active brain, contemplating and thinking
Right.
about what might they
Right.
think. But it was this real information that was really relevant and really a guidepost
So
to
what you
me, an insight
let's
into
take
me, into
let's
thoughts and aspects about my personality that I hadn't really previously thought about or hadn't really previously known. And that's what's fascinating to me. And
right.
that's why I guess I'm not so much interested in the lucid dreaming thing anymore, because I think that rather than trying to be the captain of that ship, if I were to allow to take that opportunity to throw myself into the sea of chaos and see what happens there, that I might be able to get some other voices in there, right? So it's
You know
like,
what? That's what I do.
yeah, I could
That's
be in
what I do
control of
every night.
everything, but
That's
why?
what I do every night, sir. Every night I do that. Okay. Yeah. And there's so much to learn from that. And as you share that experience, that is a message per se, right? Because it didn't come from your subcon, right? I'm very passionate about these things.
What did you mean by discovering who you are?
Yeah.
Okay, so
See?
for example, it's like how does it, because like I said, these words, if you don't know me and you're not living my life, these words are might not have any variance. But I'm trying to remember, like if I had my dream journal here, I'd be able to actually like pick out the words and tell you what it was. But okay, so for example, this is that, oh, if you're talking about the work, trying to figure out who you are, by the time you become the type of person that's on a spiritual path, right? There are things that drive you to ask those questions and seek those answers. Why are you the type of person that's driven to ask those questions and seek those answers? Sometimes
Yeah.
it's something kind of mundane. Oh, I had this mysterious experience and I'm always looking for the answer to what that mysterious experience was. Or sometimes it's just this kind of feeling. But by the time you start going down this path, you realize that there's aspects of you, right, of who you are, that are not there by choice. They were put there over time. So, for example, look, you might have a name. Okay, so your name is Darren or whatever, or Dennis, or whatever your name is. You didn't choose that name, but that name was put upon you. And maybe your name is like, maybe you're Dennis McGillicuddy Jr. the third. Well, there's a lot of information there about a lot of stuff that was put into you and told to you about who you were that really has nothing to do with you. And so you got to kind of pull those things apart when you're on the path to try and figure out what part of you is there that is the organic part that you're trying to burn yourself down to, the core of who you are, and what part of it is just games and programming that was put upon you by the powers that be in the system, whether it's your family, your friends, or the education system, or things that you did to yourself.
Or the
Lies that
McGillicuddies
you
against
told
the
yourself about who you
Florensteins.
are. I'm a lazy person, or I just want to do this, or lies that you told yourself about the nature of the world. You know, there are
Or
plenty of
five
people that are
stills of a
living their lives
Stevensnazzle.
in drug addiction and
Pleasant times
alcoholism
and
that are doing that because they've told themselves a series of lies about the nature of life, and there's no meaning, and it's all just a crock, and love is just a chemical reaction,
everybody
and
knew
what's
that
the
was
point
just a
of doing
thousand
this?
cents,
They're
a
just going to
snizzle
divorce you and
thousand
leave you with bills and all this and that other thing, and and it's just this. You got to sit down and you got to try and find a system or way to methodically work through that shit to find out what you really believe and what's really true and what are just things that you're holding on to, myths and metaphors and lies that you're holding on to, for a variety of reasons, because either that life has taught you, to programmed you to be that way, to keep you safe, you know what I mean? Darren, don't go out and do that. They're all gonna laugh at you. Or Darren, don't go out and do that because you're gonna get hurt. Or Darren, don't go out and do that because you're gonna get taken for a ride. Or Darren, don't go out and do that because you give all your money to charity. They're just gonna waste it on drugs anyway. Or Darren, don't just do that because be a good boy and don't break the laws. And Darren, don't do that because we're gonna find you and put you in prison. And Darren, don't do that because you're gonna go crazy and you're gonna lose your mind. Or Darren, don't do that because you'll have wasted your life and all this stuff. And it takes time to figure out what's real and what's not real. You know what I mean? And that's what I think the great work really is about. And all these things, these spiritual practices like alchemy or tarot cards or divination or scrying or yoga, they're all designed to try and figure out how to get rid of the bullshit to what's left behind is the truth. What's real.
How do you wash the bullshit out, and how do you find your truth, sir?
Well, it's a series of practices. So, like I said, what I did basically is I've in my spiritual seeking, I've been associated with the Church of Scientology. I've been associated with the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Hare Krishna movement. I was involved in Swami Narayan Hinduism. I was involved in the Church of Satan. I was involved in Thelema. I was involved in a lot of different practices and different paths, Alcoholics Anonymous, et cetera, et cetera. So where I'm going with that is to say that after all of that, finding myself still needing and believing that spirituality and a religious practice was important to me, not just being I'm spiritual but not religious, but actually being religious, having a dedicated practice, a thing that I could do that could bring value and meaning into my life that I sorely needed if I want to stay on the straight and narrow, and if I want to continue down the path of perfection rather than the path of self-destruction. I came up with this religion called Commonwealth Chanting. And the practice, the individual practice of Commonwealth Chanting is a very simple process. I've made myself a promise to every day read a spiritual text. And I don't worry about whether or not the text that I think is a spiritual text is a text that someone else would think is a spiritual text. If something qualifies to me as a spiritual or religious text, that it satisfies this checklist on my daily to-do list that I've given myself as part of my religious practice. I read a spiritual or religious text every day, whether it be a word, a sentence, a paragraph, a chapter, or a book. Okay? And every day I chant. It's called Commonwealth Chanting because while involved in Krishna consciousness, I became aware of the practice of mantra and the power of chant. And
you're not damn right. You're not damn right.
I want to ask this gentleman a question. What's the name of the religion that you picked up? Like you said that you're.
It's called Commonwealth Chanting, and if you go to my YouTube channel, there's videos about it explaining the individual practice and the group practice of Commonwealth Chanting. I'm not a guru. I'm not a leader. I'm simply the first guy that kind of formulated it, and then I put it out there, kind of like an open source religion. Like if you have the concept and programming of the Linux, an open source operating system that can be utilized by other people in their lives because the person who programmed it found it to be of utility and use.
Yeah. No, I follow you. People ask me what my religion is, right? Because I'm in.
I did not ask you. You shut up. I do have different fucking religion than you white people. You know that. Damn right. This is Habib.
Go back to hell.
No, this is Abdul. You go. You go. Wolfman said I can do this one. He said I get to read tarot cards for this gentleman. He said I get to read tarot cards.
C.W Chanter. You fucking threw my fucking train right at the fucking track.
Would you like Abdul to read your cards of tarot, Mr. C.W.?
Yeah. Abdul's gonna fucking have to hold his fucking underwear in fucking hand for a second, all right?
I want to read the cards of tarot.
Shut up, fucking Abdul. Or whatever.
Thank you, Casper.
Hi, Darren. In regards to religion, all right?
Sure.
So you have this religion that you've created. It's called which, sir? It's called
Commonwealth Chanting.
Okay, all right. Okay, enough.
COMMONWELL Chanting. CHANTING.
Right, chanting. Yeah, I know how to spell. And so people ask me, when I first got started on this internet thing, I was on 4D for all, lucid dreaming for all. And yeah, sure, I had to put a moniker or whatever, I didn't want to put my name in it. It was Dream Master. Whatever, man. I don't give a fuck. And shit, I lost my train again. For fuck's sake.
Oh,
There'll be another one coming down the tracks any day now.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
No, yeah. Fuck off. So yeah.
He's gonna get electrocuted.
Now, when it comes to religion,
yes, sure.
When they ask me what kind of religion are you talking about, lucid dreams, you got a bunch of atheists, agnostics, bunch of whatever, man. You got Catholic people, whatever. Even in Toronto, they start up a Satanist church. They got an atheist church. Just started up. Okay, great. And they asked me, what kind of religion are you? And it's Deitch. Okay, and my name is Dennis Deitch, DNNISDY. And construction landscaper in Toronto, whatever. And they say to me, what religion are you? And I say to them, there's like 40 people in the room. And I say to them, oh, I'm Deitchism. I believe in Deitchismist. And they say, a couple of them say, what's that? And they all poof out of the room. They fucking Google it, whatever. There's no such thing as Deitchism. That's my last name, man. Okay, you get it? I myself.
Yeah, no, but I think you told a very powerful and important truth. That just because you can't Google the information doesn't mean there isn't such a thing as Deitchism. I think there is such a thing as Deitchism. It's the religion that you practice, which is your path.
That's right. I am me. You're never going to be able to really put your finger on me because I'm Dennis. Okay? I'll let you in. If you're stuck in a concrete religion, you're easily pegged. You're like, that's basically your construct. The way you live your life.
For all I can tell you, Dennis, is that for me personally, here's what happened. When I did the spiritual but not religious thing, when I did let's not come up with a name for it and let's just let it all go and just, do this, do that, the other thing, I found myself kind of adrift, where I was sometimes this, I was sometimes that, and there was no solidity to what I was doing. There was no consistency to what I was doing. And because there was no solidity or consistency to what I was doing, there was no real progress. So in looking at the situation for me, and I'm the sort of person, I don't sit there and say that, oh, Commonwealth chanting is the way, the light, the truth. And if you want to know what it's all about and you want to know what's real and what's not real, you got to do this practice of Commonwealth chanting. No. What came to me was the notion that I needed a sadhana, what's known in Hinduism as a sadhana, a practice, a technique, and a thing that I could do and I could commit to doing daily, an actual benchmark for success or achievement that I could do to know whether or not I was doing something or not doing something. And in doing that, I found myself with a workable practice for me. And I think that, and then I tell people about it not because it matters to me whether or not I make one convert or two, but rather just the fact of I think it's fascinating and interesting, and I did it for a reason. And having done it and found it to be successful for me, I realized that it could be something that could be exported to other people that they might find is useful and valuable to them potentially. Like if I build a new kind of car, it's not saying that if you buy a different type of car like a Honda or a Mazda, you've made a terrible decision. It's just saying I designed a car that met my specifications or needs. And if you're of a similar mindset and temperament, these things might serve you as well. And therefore, it is what it is.
Yeah, Mike, hey, can we do a gay it out hug thing?
Oh, yeah, we can do that, all right. But you got to do it like a real man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a real man hug, We got to be real.
Fuck, I don't fucking hug. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. That's it. Your train, I believe that's your train. You hear it? Your train's coming back, Dennis.
Yeah,
it's coming, man. Holy shit. Okay. Your train of thought is coming back, Dennis. Oh my God. It's coming back. It's coming back. The train of thought is. Here it comes. Dennis, your train of thought's here.
Fuck that shit, man.
Is that not your train of thought?
Oh, man, I'm looking for my fucking black ashes.
Dang. Sure sounds like a train to me.
It just went by. I missed it. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. I'll get high. I'll jump the caboose. I'll get high when I get on the train. I'll ride the caboose.
Yeah. It's okay. Train of thought's there. Nothing wrong with it. It's always good to have that come back. Yeah, you lost it. It's there.
No, there's not too much that gets by me, man. If I miss something, I'll fucking grab it. Don't worry about it. I got it already, man.
Okie dokie then. This show's gonna end any second, guys. I can't believe it.
No, hey, listen, Dennis. With the question I would ask you is this: is that you know what I mean? That I'm not trying to take your measure to be whatever, but there seems to be a kind of a level of anger and aggression, and I just wanted to say that I hope that that's you can let that go and process that away as well.
Thanks.
And maybe you want to not lucid dream because maybe you'll figure out because when we lucid dream, and we're in control of the thing, there might be some outside stuff that you need to let in as well, possibly.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
because I've been doing this for so long, and because
right.
I split, because I split personality or whatever, if you want to call it that. I can be whatever I want to be, whatever I want to be. Right? It's kind of weird that way, right? Because I am that way in my dreams. All right, so I can kind of like swing that in my real lifetime, right? Like this when I breathe air and stuff.
Can I throw this out? Quick, guys. Yeah, Casper Parks tomorrow. We might end at any minute. Thank you, everybody, for being on. Thank you, C.W. Chanter. This might just end any time. I don't know when it's going to end, but yeah, we're going to be back at 11 p.m. EST with Casper Parks tomorrow. Anyway,
I look forward to tuning in. It's a wonderful show. Thank you so much for having me on as a guest.
Yeah, buddy.
It was wonderful making your acquaintance, meeting your lovely woman, Marijuana Mama, hearing her cough. and meeting the wonderful
Yeah.
actors and cohorts, Igor and Dennis and everyone else under the sun, and the father Guido Scarducci, whatever. Woo, my
Yeah.
mind has been blown.
Yeah, and I don't know if you met Igor, but yeah, there's a lot more people in the castle you haven't even met yet because you were just so informative. I just let you go, man. You know?
Well, thank you. I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, it was great, and we're not done yet. I'm just, I'm doing the ending now because I don't know when we're gonna get cut off from Spreaker, so I just wanted to throw that stuff out, and you can find him on C_Chanter in Twitter, at C_Chanter. Really easy to do, and you can find him in Twitter, and your YouTube stuff is cool. That's where to go. You want to hear some more of this?
Whatever this is.
Yeah, man. It's real.
God bless you. Absolutely. Thank you, my friend.
Okay. All right. You know what? We're going to end this with you guys open questions now. I already did the ending, so now you can just do open questions till it ends.
Well, Dennis, I apologize. Maybe the last thing that I said, I felt the words coming out, but as I was saying them, I was thinking to myself, geez, maybe this is like not necessarily appropriate, or I just because, well, you know what I mean. Like I just wanted to make sure that you want to know that I want you to know that I respect you and your opinion and the thoughts you shared with me and the questions I thought were insightful and I thought that you had a lot to say and add, but I did notice that you tendency, a little bit of anger, but I just wanted to make sure that there was anything that I had done or said that made you angry. And if there was, I want to give you an opportunity to lay it out there. But it's no big deal, man. It's really no big deal.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good.
For a while, right? And
well, beautiful.
I'll put on a personality because you really don't know me.
I don't. No, absolutely. You're 100% correct. That's why, as I was saying the words, I was like, you know what? But that happens sometimes in my life. I'll start to say something, and as soon as I'm saying it, I'm saying to myself, you probably didn't need to say that.
No, man, it's all good.
You know how it goes. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay straight up. It's not the first time I've been here. Okay. All right.
No, I figured that. It sounded as though you guys have had some history here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, everybody in the chat room's thinking that Dennis must have drank himself sober, because how come he's making so much damn sense at the end of the show?
Because I'm talking to a fucking intelligent fucking person, which I like to have fun with, I don't like fucking. Like you're a good man, like I'm one of those psychic energy readers, if you want to call them that. But yeah, you're good. I pick up off you, and you're good people, man. You're
thank you. I appreciate it. That's beautiful, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you're good stuff. So,
well,
all right. Well, there you go.
It's all right, man.
Next time I come on, though, I want to talk to Eric Awakening, man. You know what I mean? Does he ever show up? Does he ever come on the air?
I could have got him on here. Yeah, he's on here all the time, man. He could have came in. I could have added him to the. Okay, next time we'll do that.
Because me and him are always we always got the banter on Twitter. We're always going back and forth, and so one of these days I think it's going to be interesting to either have him on my channel or get to speak to him on his.
Dang.
I know he periscopes a lot. And I think he's got his own radio thing or something. So
I could have had him on if he wanted, but
oh no big
all you
deal.
have to do is
Whatever
tell
happens. Life unfolds.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
do you understand?
Yeah.
Understand?
I know what you're saying, man. I know what you're saying. I dig it, man. I'm hip. I'm groovy with
Beautiful,
that. Yeah, I dig
man.
it. I dig it.
Everything
So anyway,
right there?
But what happened?
So yeah.
So look, check this out. I'll probably say sayonara because it's 2:20 in the morning over where I'm at, and I've got my wife is going to be expecting me to do things tomorrow. So, but it was an absolute Wolfman. It was an absolute blast talking to you, brother. I know we made first contact I think if we looked at our Skype, we've probably known each other on Skype, and like maybe like it seems like you and me had a pattern. Every 6 or 7 months, we've be like, "Hey, man, we've got to do something on one of our channels." We'd be like, "Yeah, absolutely, man. Get back to me tomorrow." To be like, "Yeah, man, totally." And then like 6 months later, "Hey, dude, what's up? You still around?" "Yeah, totally."
Yeah, but
so
tonight
everything happens in due time. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. And I'm glad it happened tonight, man. You're a solid dude. I like your comedy stylings, and I like what you're doing over here at the Monster Castle Paranormal Radio thing.
Thanks, brother. And thank you for filling in. Because this guy filled in for somebody else that was a misunderstanding that was supposed to be on tonight. And really, you were an awesome guest and thanks for filling in. Like, I begged this guy. I almost tricked him into it.
And that's the way it goes down with me, Mike, man. That's the way, like, life happens, brother. You know what I mean? You know, and everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in due time. So I think that even if it's just, look, dude, check this out. When we look back, even if it's just all accident and circumstance, right? If it was all just whatever, it was all just, none of it was planned, none of it was on purpose. Still, we can look back and see it as a story. We could see it as a narrative. We could see it as everything happening and unfolding in time, and happening just the way it was supposed to. And that's a much more beautiful and hep way and beautiful psychedelic way to think about things. Fuck it if it's real or not. It's real for us if we choose to make it real.
Yeah, man.
You know?
I can't believe that. Anyway, everything worked out so good. And Dennis's train came back. Train's still here. Anyways, Eric's going to take us up on that next time. It'll just be Eric and me and probably who's that one? Darren wants to. Darren and Eric. They want to have an interview with you next time. So
well, listen, I'm here to be of service, and I'd love to. And Mike, if it makes sense to you, if you ever want to come on my show as a guest, whenever I talk to anyone who's got a show or they're a provider or content creator, I always say to them, if it's an open invitation, if you ever want to come on and talk to me and rap and have a conversation with a little bit of role reversal.
Yeah.
Where we get to talk to you about who you are and where you're at and what you do and what you're up to and what motivates you to be a broadcaster and a presenter and how you tick and all that good beautiful stuff. It's an open invitation, man. I would love to have you on as a guest and repay the favor of having you open the doors to the Monster Castle to me.
All right, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll play you some of my groovy shit and kinds of stuff, and Flat Earth Head. And
I got some song, yeah. I got a song called Flat Earth Head, and beautiful, the Flat Earthers will love it, yeah.
That's it. You can even sing it off key, man.
Right on. Maybe I'll get my guitar out and stuff.
Get your guitar out of the dungeon and the person that's inside, right? There you go.
Yeah, baby. Can you
Beautiful times, man. Beautiful times. But for now, for the time being, I'll have to bid you all a fond adieu.
All right.
I'll have to say goodbye and then get my hats off to you. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me on. It was a beautiful experience meeting you and the rest of the gang. It was beautiful meeting you, Dennis. And, look me up on YouTube, reach out to me on Twitter or whatever. I don't do the Facebook thing because I'm scared of the NSA, the CIA, the FBI.
Really, me neither. I hate the
you know what I mean? I don't fuck around with Facebook. And,
no shit.
But whatever, you know what I mean? And I'll talk to you guys soon, man. Have a good one.
All right. And that was...
Okay.
And that was
me.
All right.
Yeah,
that's me, man. So take care of have a beautiful rest of the show.
Come on, guys.
Carrying on. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you all later, okay?
Okay.
Peace be upon you all, man.
Groovy.
Talk to you soon. Adios.
Can you dig it?
And that was... that was the man. Wow. Dennis, that was awesome, buddy. I can't believe the show's still going. Wow. Okay, well, we're still on. Dennis, your train is still here, man. Why? Okay. You guys are supposed to clap, not laugh at the guest. Jesus Christ, come on. This live studio audience, you're supposed to... What do I gotta do? Hitch in the head? Okay. Clap. Hey, thank you. Jeez. Didn't know the goodness of our hearts, you know. We're on this train. Can't even get off this damn crazy thing. Damn crazy thing. Oh, wow. Well, there's another show we finished. Oh, yeah. It was a great show. Yeah, yep. Guess I missed it. Oh, what was I listening to? Damn it. Well, I'm going to just hop out of here really quickly. Dennis, how do you stop the train? Damn it. I don't know what to do on this stupid train, man. Okay, I know what to do. We got to go to a commercial here. I got a perfect commercial for you. I'm going to do this. We're going to go to this stupid place where, I don't know, really dumb things happen. Damn it.
This is Jeff the Gray, co-host of Monster Castle Paranormal Radio on the KTLK Digital Broadcasting Network, thefringe.fm.
How can this still be live? Hello, I'd like to have a table and would I be able to bring, I have 4 people, one with wooden leg, is that okay? He's a bit handicapped. He handicapped with one leg, but yes, it's okay. And in my country, nobody laughs at those people.
That's fine.
And also,
we don't have stairs, so there's no stairs to go down or anything, so that's fine.
Oh, very good, thank you.
The only thing is, if they need to go to the bathroom, that is downstairs.
Okay, but then I have 4 people with wheelchair too. Do you have big table?
So it's 4 people in a wheelchair.
And 4 people not on
I'd
wheelchair.
have to find out for you if we can fit 4 wheelchairs in.
And also, wait a minute.
Sure.
I also have the babies. We have like 5 babies, and we need like 5 babies.